are back. The time is now.
You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army. Live daily on the website, on YouTube, and on every online radio directory. NUFC Talk, the voice of the Toon Army.
Oh, so who's he? Okay, say who's in prison already? There was somebody behind bars then, and we haven't even started. Good evening, welcome one and all across the northeast. Well, across anywhere you're watching us. If I'm honest with you, I've got a different crew on tonight because obviously we have got the lads coming on the late show that are all going to be probably pie-eyed by the time they get on board in a secret location somewhere in Gosford. But tonight we have Boki, Christina Tooney, and we've got the lovely Ian and Kev, who usually joins on the late show with Chris and the lads. So it's nice to have some common sense, I suppose. But we'll get into it. I don't know whether there's going to be much common sense after yesterday's performance, I must admit. I'm sure we'll go through it. But before we get into tonight's show, we'll welcome one and all that's watching. Welcome and thanks to all the mods that work in the background. Don't forget, people out there in Viewerland, smash that like button if you enjoy the show. Subscribe and hit the bell. They are totally free to do so. If you hit the bell, you will get that 30-minute warning to say that we're going live. Always live, never edited. Don't forget also, if you can afford to do so in January, become a member. $4.99 gets you all inclusive with the NTTV Plus membership. It's only $4.99. It'll be great, and it certainly helps us as a channel to get forward. If you've got a question for anybody in the panel, then throw a Q in front of that question. But like I say, it's not guaranteed to be mentioned. So if you do want to guarantee it, then throw us a super chat, follow the dollar signs and instructions, and that will get you notified, and we will talk about it. Members will be highlighted and thanked, and also any members that gift them will also be highlighted and thanked as we go. Lady and gentlemen, I welcome you. I'm going to do my ditty before we get into our thoughts on what happened, just so we can have a little bit of a coverage. So good evening and welcome to the show, as I've already said, where Newcastle United continue to remind us that supporting this club is like a full-time emotional equipment. On the pitch, we've got plenty of running, lots of good intentions, and goals that seem to be stuck in customs. Off it, we've got financial rules no one fully understands, fixtures coming thick and fast, and a fan base split between trust the process and I've had enough by Tuesday. So tonight, we ask, is this just a wobble? A squad running on fumes, or the inevitable growing pains of trying to do things properly? Buckle up. Opinions are guaranteed. Boki, I don't know why you're in jail already, Boki. What's going on, lad?
Even there.
What I'm thinking tonight is we've got no control over the jail, so we've got literally one jail cell. So if you want someone in jail and you super chat,
it's going to be there.
What we do is we can move people around. So if you want somebody in who's on the panel, we'll move them into jail and move me out. But I'll stay in there for the time being.
Well, you deserve to be anyway.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I always deserve to be in jail.
I must admit, it's quite nice because you're virtually on your own tonight. I mean, Ian did say he's close to be moving over to that knee-trembling dark side. So we'll see what happens.
Can I just say, before we get into the night show, can I just say after yesterday with the people that were at the Empire Club in Gosforth who were smashing hopes.
It's a secret, mate.
It's a
brilliant.
Secret, mate.
It's a secret.
No, it's not now. I mean, Wynn let it out halfway, like minutes into the show. So, there was people trying to burst in the door and everything to get to see her.
Everybody wanted his autograph, did they?
Yeah, I think in regards to that, what people don't realise is a lot of us guys haven't met each other. Like the Toon twins I'd never met, and they're a pair of great guys. Jamie's got great insight into the game. Queenie came up, was lovely to see Queenie as well. Poor Michael in the background trying to do the commentary when we're eating pizza and all just talking behind him. I don't know how the hell he kept going. Betsy and Chris are a lovely couple and absolutely brilliant to meet them too. And obviously I got to see Win as well, which, we can all talk about that later on. But no, in regards to that great day yesterday, and I just hope you guys enjoyed the commentary with all those guys on.
Well, I must admit, watching you guys was better than watching what I was. I was soaked through to the skin, freezing bloody cold, watching that lot. And I must admit, I come away thinking, oh, what the hell have I just seen there? But it seems to be, it's not the first we've seen. So I'll tell you what, before I get into my vibes, let's go round. We'll start with you, Boki, then. How did you feel yesterday's game went?
I mean, it was an awful game. Let's face it. It wasn't the greatest in the world. I mean, we're all as I say, we all had fun in the club, but it was because we're all together. I think if I'd been sitting watching it with one of you guys on the doing the watch along, it would have been such a disappointing game. There was you could see 20, 25 minutes in, there was nothing there. We weren't doing anything, and nothing changed. And we're all sitting there going, "Come on, Eddie, make a couple of changes, go with two up front." There was nothing to lose in that game. The cause were a couple of issues at the back, but they were never going to be, sort of on the back attacking one massively. And it was the type of game where you just think to yourself, just go for it, pull a defender off or pull a defensive midfielder off and go with the extra striker. And it just didn't happen. We went with the same substitutes, we went with the same formation, and it was obvious it wasn't working, and it never changed. But did have fluidity during the game in regards to the way we were playing. I agree in regards to he let players go a little bit and get forward, but we were never completely in control of the game. And to be honest, I think we could still be playing now, and I doubt either team would have scored.
No, it's a fair point. It is a fair point. Tina, how do you feel yesterday's game on? Because you, out of everybody, like Win and like Kev, to be fair, because Kev usually, sings the praises. How do you feel it went yesterday?
I mean, it was a bit of a damn squid of a match, to be fair. I would go as far as to say that we did control the game for much part, like for a lot of it. We just didn't seem to do a lot with what we had. Kicking the ball around, the passing looked good. I mean, we've talked all season about not having good possession. The possession was not as bad yesterday, but yeah, there wasn't a lot of excitement. There wasn't a lot of penetration. There wasn't a lot of anything really. I mean, I was expecting a little bit more from Kieran Trippier. I thought with him on there, Walter Martin's going to score like a hat trick of headers. Just nothing really seemed to happen. It's a point in the bag. And again, it did show that we can control a bit in possession, but outside of that, it's difficult to highlight anything from what I saw.
Yeah, I agree. It was like I say, a bit of a. I felt like a bit of a damn squid at the best of times, but that was quite impossible to watch without criticism. I was sat in the home end. Again, speaking like I do, I blend in quite nicely. And I must admit, there was a couple of times where I was tinkering towards the edge of my seat, where we were getting balls into the box, and Voltamada just didn't really connect with anything. And it was like, oh, God. But everybody around me was really, happy that Newcastle failed to get a goal. And it seemed very much as though they all wanted a draw anyway. Any point will do at this stage of the season for Wolves. I mean, they're still way off being safe, to be fair. Ian, I did see your ratings with Michael. You spoke very openly and candid, and I must admit, made a lot of sense. And I must admit, I can't believe, I was like you, it does feel as though a lot of the time, SofaScore et al., very similar people that other sites give scores to, seem to always add 2 to a lot of players.
Oh,
Um,
it's crazy.
and beyond belief at times. And I must admit, go and have a look at the BBC, because I think you'll get a better understanding. The BBC Sport seems to give you a more rational approach to the scores. In actual fact, they scored a lot of the Wolves players higher than us. That's an interesting one. Go on, mate. What's your take on yesterday's game?
I am firmly alongside Kev, traditionally, in the happy clapper camp.
Yeah.
But I've seen that game so many times before. That was how we set up and came away with a goalless draw at Leeds. Probably how we set up and came away, or we had to play better to get a goalless draw at Bournemouth. It's how we set up and played at Brentford and at West Ham, and they actually had a bit about them going forward, so they beat us. And that is not the players' fault, because we can see what these players can do when they play at home, when they're under the lights and it's a big game. It must be, and maybe I've been poisoned by listening to everybody else saying this today as I've caught up with what the other commentators have had to say, but it's got to be how set up. Gav Fuller has just said in our notes, Howe was happy with a point. And I honestly think he might have been. He wants to continue his unbeaten run. For me, that is such a missed opportunity to not take maximum points away at Wolves, who I think have won. They haven't won at home since February. I think their win was away at Everton, wasn't it? I just can't believe we would settle for a point at that place. But that is how Howe set up. As soon as they got the ball, we defended in our 4-5-1 block that we took to Arsenal in the semi-final last year. Even Wolves were defending 4-4-2. Wolves' defence was set up more in a more attacking formation than what we had. And I know it looked lovely. We made nearly 600 passes, but I think that, which is a lovely stat, and 67% possession, and I don't know what it was, 90-something% pass.
Yeah, I'm going to put this on while you're talking, because you're actually covering virtually the entire ground with what you've just said there. In actual fact, I didn't realise we broke a record yesterday.
Gary, can I just do this super chat?
Yeah.
Just do the super chat. Still bad, Dad. No release for Bogey until he makes a brew. I don't make cuppas, so I'm in prison all day. Basically, I'll bring him up with that. Cheers, still bad, Dad.
I was just going to finish off with the killer stat that I heard was that Gordon and Barnes, between them, attempted a dribble each.
Yeah.
And if you added Lewis Hall in, that was 3 dribbles we attempted in the whole game. That's how we get through a low block. We beat a man and get some space and move forward. We tried it 3 times. We failed 3 times. I'm not surprised we didn't score. The annoying thing is that we did step it up. When Miley took over the midfield and we had a little bit more sense of purpose, we stepped up. We had the shots on target. We had the free kick that nearly went in. I mean, if it started in the first half like that, would have been 2 up at half time and would have coasted.
Yeah, he just shaped it just outside the post too much, didn't he?
Why will he not set up like that from the start when he's playing away from home? And
yeah,
on the postcard.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just on the graphic that's on the screen now, this is the Newcastle United's pass completion rate in the first half against Wolves. 94% was the highest by any team in the first half of football in the Premier League without recording a shot on target on record since 03-04. Yeah, that's
there we go,
great. Just see that. It's like we're playing with 11 Declan Rice's, Kev.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, go on then, Kev. What's your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, it wasn't great. I can't, as much as I'm a happy clapper, I can't come on here and say I'm happy with it, because I'm not. I'm a Newcastle fan. It's the type of games we should be winning, and it's the type of games we should really be putting them to the sword, really. However, I don't get what I understand that about the performance in the doom and gloom, but I don't understand the doom and gloom overall. We've got a massive game. Have I gone? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still there.
My camera's a little bit. My side, my camera's a bit funny. I'll keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, we can
Yeah,
still
so-
hear you, but you have gone a bit blurred out.
I think it's the connection to my phone. I'll sort it out in a second.
No worries.
Yeah, I don't get the doom and gloom around kind of everything else at the moment. I'm struggling to understand that because yes, the performance was poor. Yes, we should be beating Wolves and Leeds away and these type of things. And I completely agree with all of that. And I agree that Howe maybe could have went with 2 earlier, and it seemed obvious to everybody. But he'll obviously have his reasons for that, which we aren't privileged to, unfortunately. But we're still in a very good position going forward. So the doom and gloom for me is at times mind-boggling, but I've said to Ian many times on previous pods, Newcastle fans at times, it's almost our biggest pro and con at the same time. We almost care too much. So when it's going great, we are the best team in Milan, the best supporters in Milan, no better place to play football, what a team to be a part of, what a manager, greatest in our history. Isak was God's gift, and Bruno's a legend, and Tonali's unfathomable when it's going great. And then when we don't get the results we expect, it hurts that much more because of our genuine passion and love for our club. Unlike other clubs I've seen in the Premier League, there is some who are as passionate, but I think we're a little bit over the top when it doesn't go our way. And yes, the result didn't go our way. However, we've got a massive game coming up Wednesday night. We're still only 3 points off 4th, and it looks like 5th could get Champions League again. So yeah, it's disappointing, and there's concerns around performance and certain players in particular. But if history's shown us anything in the last 4 years in terms of getting something out of players, such as Willock, Joelinton, turned Isak into what he is, Murphy, Gordon for that weird one season, he's never been the same since, is Howe can do it. I'm not saying he's definitely going to, and I'm not saying he's definitely not going to, but he can, and he's done it before. So I think there's lots to be positive about in the holistic approach to being a Newcastle fan at the minute, but I do get the disappointment from the game. I can't add much more about the game, but the doom and gloom absolutely boggles my mind at the minute when you look at the position we're in, 3 points off 4th, Champions League game coming up, and yes, we're probably out of the League Cup, but funnier things have happened. We beat them 2-0 with Rolando Aarons, didn't we? So
we did, exactly.
Could do it again.
We could.
Kev, I'm not. I'm not a fickle happy clapper and prone to switch at all. I've stuck with him all the way through. But that game, particularly after we've got to that position, because we've sort of reacted. Maybe it's all the home games, but we've reacted against seemingly in a different way to get to the position we're in. Because when we were playing like that and losing away all those times, it was because there was no ambition. And that was it yesterday. There was no ambition. And it's not the players. It's not the players. I mean, I know 1 or 2 might be off form, but it's not all 11 of them that are being told to have a 94% pass completion rate in the first half, but not create a shot on target, because nobody is willing to take a chance to beat a man or to try and get on the end of a cross that's coming in early into the box. We didn't do it. There were 1 or 2 crosses, really good crosses put in. There was nobody there. But when Voldemar was there, it was a poor header, wasn't it? It could have been
I'm not sure if
of the goal.
I'm not sure if it's how all players really. It's hard to tell. At home, players will have that extra kind of 2% to get on the end of a cross and that extra kind of pressure to go forward when we hear the groans of the crowd. So we maybe are a little bit more relaxed, and obviously it's Eddie's job to make sure we're not relaxed. I get, like, honestly, we can criticise how, of course we can, but I think personally, when you look at history and where we're at, I don't get the Eddie out thing, because again, grass isn't always greener. We could get a so-called elite manager like an Ancelotti, and he could come in and it could flop. I think the problem is, I think my theory is on the whole Eddie Howe thing is there's some fans, and this is absolutely okay, by the way, I'm not slating anybody, there's some fans who are bored of Eddie Howe, right? And what getting a new manager does, if it's an elite manager or somebody new, right, what that does is it gives them patience and time. All right. Now, if fans have time and patience, we're a lot more forgiving of performances like yesterday. The problem is, Howe's been there 4 years. He's almost set up his own failure by being so successful in them 4 years. So it's very hard to keep matching them levels. Yes, he should, but it's hard to. And I think some fans are, not me personally, obviously I'm a massive happy clap at Eddie in, but I understand why some fans might be bored. But rather than say like Eddie's a bad manager and stuff I've seen about not being, a good manager is absolutely crazy, because he clearly is from what he's done. But it's okay to be bored of him, and it's okay to want something new, to give yourself more time and patience. But better the devil I think we could get an elite manager like an Ancelotti could come in and it not work, but it wouldn't matter as much to the fans, because it's right, more time, trust the process. So I think that's my theory on where people are at with Eddie Howe. I think some are bored, some aren't. Some are maybe a little bit scared of a new manager like me. I'm very scared of anybody else other than Howe, just in case it doesn't give that new lift. But personally, I would give Howe an 8-year contract, but that's going to upset some people.
I tell you what,
agree,
then.
Kev. It's not the right time to take him away when he's just on the cusp of something. He's got to see this through to the end of the season and live or die by what happens. So if we keep winning less than a point from every away game and losing to the big teams at home or drawing with them, and we finish 14th, and we don't win the Champions League, and we don't win the Carabao Cup,
Definitely not going to win the Champions League. Just to, I can comfortably say
Cup.
We won't win the Champions League.
Yeah,
just a quick one, guys. We've got
just
a quick one, guys. We've got a super chat here from Warren. Christina, jail, please, to keep Borky company. Unfortunately, there can only be one win jail tonight, so it's Christina now.
It's me now.
I've made the decision to put Christina in jail.
Yeah,
but thank you very much for your super chat. There was
the executive decision. I tell you what, before we jump into obviously the debate, if you like, about Eddie Howe, let's listen to him and see what you guys think of his post-match.
Oh, that's an unflattering freeze frame.
Yeah.
I can't hear him.
No sound, Gary.
Radio.
I think aged like 10 years since last week, by the way.
It's got to Newcastle fans.
I was going to say that is the problem. Right, let's try this one. I do apologize. For some unknown reason, my computer always goes to like an autopilot when these come on.
Yeah, we never looked like losing it, but
yes,
we didn't do enough to win it, I don't think.
Yeah.
We're disappointed with our product today. Our ability to create chances wasn't at the highest level. I think there was no lack of endeavour. I thought the players were really trying. We had control of the game from very early. A lot of balls into their box. Some good balls going through the box, where we didn't have anyone on the end of them. That would be a frustration for us. So a lot to reflect on. I thought we defended very well. The attitude was very good from the players, but it wasn't to be.
When you're up against a low block like that, everything just has to be so precise, and maybe at times, was it not quite there?
Yeah, I thought, everything does have to be precise, or you need to ask more questions of their back line, and we didn't work their goalkeeper enough. I think that's obvious. There were some really big moments that we didn't take. I think we're looking for individuals really to step up in those tight games. You're looking for someone to go, I'll be the match winner for you. Or we'll score an ugly goal from a set play, or there'll be some kind of moment that swings it in our direction. I think that's what the very best teams always find a way, regardless of the situation. So I don't think we did that well enough. But in saying that, we had to keep our concentration. Wolves were dangerous on the counter-attack, and with transitions, I thought we did that really well. I thought Nick really had very little to do. So there's two ways of looking at every game, and the most important thing for me is the endeavour and the attitude was there to try and win. But it wasn't our day today. I thought the substitutes helped us. I thought that was good to see. Players come on the pitch, make a real difference. Yeah, we never.
I see. So there's some things about this for me. What the game was absolutely screaming out for, and in some ways, you had a couple on the bench, was a more attacking midfielder. I certainly didn't agree with the change regarding Miley. I know you was talking about bringing Trippier on. I didn't think Trippier had a bad game, if I'm honest with you, Ian. I thought he was okay. I mean, like I say, he has.
If you look at the scores Michael and I gave, the back four and Nick Pope were the ones who got decent scores. They performed to the best of their ability. They didn't have a lot to do. So I couldn't believe that we were 4-5-1 every time they got the ball. You're absolutely right. We needed somebody driving forward from midfield, and we didn't have the person on the pitch to do that. That was either Ramsey or Willock, isn't it?
But do you think, I understand what Kev was saying now, guys. I totally understand what Kev's saying. Sometimes the grass isn't greener. We've seen that with a lot of teams, that have changed.
He condemned himself, Gary, with what he said.
But that's it.
He said, we were expecting a tight game, and we're hoping that somebody's going to step up and win it in a minute and be the match winner for us, or we score an ugly goal off somebody's arse. It's Wolves. It's Wolves. If they score 2 because we've left a bit going at the back, that'll be because we've put 6 in at the other end. If we go for the throat, and we had to win that, we needed that
Overly
3 points
cautious.
because the next away matches is Liverpool, Tottenham, Man City. We're not going to pick up 3 points regularly from that type of opponent, I don't think. Although maybe our transition play will be better at big teams like that. But we won't qualify for Europe if we can't pick up wins against the bottom 10 teams in the league. We just won't. If you remember when we qualified for Europe before, we won 7s and 8 games away from home. You've nearly got to win all of the ones we've got left to get up to that level.
To get anywhere near, yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, there was somebody put in social media today that out of 54 points, and that's since the Carabao Cup final against Liverpool, we've picked up 18 points out of a 54 away from home. And unfortunately, you know, when you are striving for that, and it seems if you look back from the Carabao Cup win, it's the hammering we got at Villa Park that seemed to be the catalyst, something that drove a bit more caution away from home, because literally from there it is all over the place. Is, you know, a couple of wins in and out, but it's mainly draws and losses going through. Well, you can tell that with 18 points from 54. But for me, yesterday, the way Eddie set up, and again, you know, crazy to think that they still had 2,500 seats, tickets going. And you think, yeah, you're bottom of the league, but you know, your capacity is only about 30, I think 32,500, I think it's 33,000. And there was just under 30,000 there. And I'm like, wow, you know, and Kev's right. Fans are fickle at times, and we are. Yeah, I mean, I'm terrible. I'm an emotional supporter at times. So if I don't have a bogey, as in the 24-hour bounce, where I can go back, compose myself, put my Wurzel Gummidge head, and come back as, you know, a sensible person, rather than somebody who just screams blue murder from what I've just seen, I am very much a yo-yo supporter. 1 minute,
most Newcastle fans, most
listen,
Newcastle fans are like that.
I am such a hypocrite, and that's what I said. I am Eddie in 1 minute and Eddie out the next, because yesterday was a massive one for me, and what I saw was substandard coaching from the side. If I'm honest with you, the first time this season that I've able to actually watch what Tyndall and Howe were doing, and there's, you know, there wasn't a lot of criticism for me, and I think sometimes Eddie Howe probably tries to protect them too much. So he wasn't pointing the finger. And I've said for a long time, Tonali isn't a 6. If you want somebody to drive you forward, somebody who can unlock a low block, you need Tonali's and Bruno's in the 8s, in the 10s to try and work something out. I mean, we all know that Tonali's probably got one of the hardest shots at the club. Most of the goalkeepers have come out and said, you feel it when Tonali hits. That ground yesterday was sodden. You know, I've had a look. There was 3 shots from outside of the box yesterday. 2 were blocked, and as Ian's already said, one from Trippier that just unfortunately was shaped a bit too far outside of the wall for it to actually do too much. Whether Saul would have got his hands to it, you know, he may have got his hands to it, but it would have been close if it was just inside the post. But that to me, on a ground like that, is criminal. You know, and like I say, when you're taking off somebody to put Miley on, then to move Bruno back into the 6, there's far too many changes. There's far too many to bring one player on like for like. You don't need to start moving the things around. And I think what Eddie Howe sees in Bruno is somebody who will always gamble going forward from a deeper role. And I often speak to the lads and say, a lot of what you talk to Tonali is lost in translation. And I don't mean that in a word that you're giving somebody instructions, but you know, some people are just rigid to stick by the guidelines that you've told them. You're the anchor man. You're the one who sits there. If you look at Tonali very rarely ventures into the box anymore from that 6th position. Bruno will go. So I understand that. but I think you're missing out on so much creativity from 30 yards on against teams like Wolves that produce the low block. And you've got Ramsey on the bench who didn't enter the field of play. Willock, listen, I know Willock has asked for a transfer. He wants out this window, so maybe there was a bit more protection around him because Leeds and Crystal Palace are interested. So I understand that Willock may be not tried and tested, but Ramsey, if you wanted to go and have somebody who can carry a ball a little bit more for you, maybe bring Ramsey in. Did you need... listen, Andre and Gomez in the middle, you need a battler with J7. I understand that as well. So J7 started, I had no issues. But as the game progressed and as they went further and further, in defence, it was absolutely screaming out for somebody with a little bit of creativity in that midfield.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've been saying for ages to get the best out of Toon Army and Bruno in their going forward roles. A proper deep sitting midfielder is kind of what we need, and we don't have that. So by that point, you're talking like, okay, put Ramsey on, see if that helps us get forward a bit. But that still leaves us with either Toon Army or Bruno sitting at the 6, which we've seen doesn't really unlock their potential at all, unfortunately.
Okay.
The funny thing with Newcastle is we're desperate for a flair player. Now, Maxi by no means was a world beater, right? But I remember before he left, the stick he was getting from, again, fans. Why doesn't he track back? You don't get that from flair players. It's very hard to find a flair player, other than maybe NJ, who still doesn't really work as hard as what you need to. So it all depends on your time. I agree. I love players like that, by the way. Like when I was growing up, Ronaldinho, Zidane. I wish players like that still existed, but just don't. Everybody's robots now and doesn't want to give away the ball because everything is tracked. But with the Newcastle fans thing, I think it's about trying to take a step back because we are an emotional bunch. Most Newcastle fans, and honestly, the ones who sit behind me, I hope they listen to this, are the worst fans in the world because they are so, how's the greatest thing since sliced bread, beating somebody at home 2-1 when actually the performance probably wasn't great, and then losing away in a tough game when you're not expecting to win the terrible. But I think we've got to just be very, very mindful of the environment we're in. So we can't compare it to Man City getting money and going on to dominate in 5 years and winning cups and it not having an effect. We can't compare it to Chelsea, where we just went and bought Scott Parker, Damien Duff, Joe Cole, and everybody who was great at the lesser clubs. I don't think our transfer business has been great so far by the looks of Ramsey and Alanga. I don't think many people can justify that. But I think what's very difficult, and we seem to forget, I don't know if it's because of the way he left, Isak was always going to be a big miss. And even when you look at when Isak came into the club, he struggled. He didn't have a fantastic first season. Yes, he was hit by injury, but even when he was playing, I remember some people were thinking 63 million for him, questionable. But the good thing there was we had a striker who'd been at the club for a while. Callum Wilson got 18, 19 goals that season and really helped us. The big issue we have here, and you could argue it's Howe's fault because you could have brought in a striker earlier, but we've had two strikers leave the club in terms of Wilson and Isak, who are established and know how we play, know the teams, the teammates, and we've got two new strikers. So I think personally will both come good. I know Newcastle fans are worse for giving players or managers time. But they are both in their first season, their first formative season with new teammates, with a new style of play. One of them, in terms of Aldermada, in a new country, still being relatively young. And Wissa, used to the league, but again, very different way of playing. That is always going to affect us negatively. And I think, again, taking a step back, which is really hard to do because I was frustrated by the Wolves game. I was annoyed and I was upset and I was angry at the performance. I wanted somebody to bash through his centre-half and bundle the ball into the net. But we're still in a decent position. However, the thing with how out, which really bugs me, is there's no guarantee under the current PSR, whatever the hell the rules are called these days. Financial fair play is gone, PSR is gone. It's changing to something else next season for the UEFA.
SCR,
yeah. It's a case of a new manager doesn't guarantee anything. And it's better tried and tested. I know Howe has his faults, by the way, before that comes up, because I know that'll come up. Howe does have his faults, but all managers do. Arteta couldn't beat Forest away from home. That's almost as bad as us not beating Wolves away from home. What was the other game? Tottenham lost at home to West Ham. West Ham are down there.
That was a crazy stat, though, wasn't it? Yeah, you think this one, the top five. The top four couldn't win. The bottom five all won. Yeah. So we just literally concertina, aren't you?
Gary, can we just go through a few start chats while it still
You
makes
can.
sense while we're discussing this? So
I tell you what, while you're doing that, I'm just going to say good night to the kids. Is that okay? Because they've just
of course it is, mate. Yeah.
I'll
And
let you crack on with the chats.
if anybody wants to jump in on this, just give us a shout, lads. So the first one's from Quinny there, saying Gordon could be for sale soon, apparently. Anyone fancy having a whip around and getting the petrol money to get rid of him? Well, I'll certainly put him, mate, if I'm perfectly honest. After yesterday, I thought the haircut might help.
Yeah, struggling. He needs it all off, doesn't he?
Change with tune when he turns up to play against PSV and Villa.
Yeah, he scores 2 or sets up 1 of them, and it's so hit and miss.
So
at the minute,
inconsistent, though. So
it's like a flash in a pan with him at times, isn't it? But anyway, next one, still bad dad. Do you think Elanga is up for the game yesterday? I saw something him in a little bit of hunger and a little bit of hunger for once. I think he did show a little bit more yesterday than he sometimes does. Don't know what you guys think.
Playing away helps him.
We scored him. We scored him quite highly compared to the rest of the forward line, and he only was on for about 15 minutes, wasn't he? But what I noticed was you saw how fast he was, because he did make 2 or 3 really, really speedy sprints up the right for a ball over the top into space. Nobody sent the ball to him. Nobody looked up to see that there was the space and he was going to run into it. I mean, to me, I can see that would be a good option to have a look at.
Yeah.
Gordon stopped doing that on the left, so maybe they don't think that anyone on the right is going to do it as well. Barnes doesn't really do that because he's not speedy enough. But Elanga was there, ready to do what he does. Might be why he looked hungry, because he was going for it. But the ball never got to him. I liked him when he came over on the left-hand side, actually, as well. And I can't remember why I liked him. I just thought he was looking dangerous across there.
Gav's just saying their first shot on target, 84 minutes, and the paying down rain. It's the fans I felt sorry for. Their mates, them guys that went down. I don't know what you guys think.
Nah, it is massively disappointing. But for me, again, like I know people hate hearing this, and I'll get attacked. I'm sure. I'm used to it now, though. It's a case of like it's sport. Like that is anybody who's played sport, and I'm not saying I've played at a particularly good level, right? But if you've played at any sort of half decent level, you understand some days and for some reason there's just runs of months or even weeks where whether it's tennis, football, cricket, whatever you play, it's just sport. I've lost to people it all sorts I should never have lost to, and I walk home and I think, how on earth did that even happen? And I've played football where I've had games where I can't even trap a ball for 2 or 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden it comes good again. It is just sport. We're going to lose many more times this season. There's going to be another game this season where we dominate and don't win, but there's also going to be games where we're terrible and somehow scrape a win, I think. But people forget it's sport. But you're right, first shot on target in the 84th minute, whatever it is horrendous, and there's no hiding that. But it is sport. That is unfortunately the nature of the sport we follow.
Just another one from David there. Mr. Hopkins, can we have a new manager?
In defence of Eddie Howe, I know nobody wants to hear any Eddie Howe defence today, but like for all I was saying about the teams like not passing, not getting forward, this is the same manager who had us playing some of the most exciting football that we've played in the past 20 years of Newcastle United for the past 4 years. So what is it that's changed? Because it's clearly not him. He's the same manager. He's got the same assistant manager. He's got many of the same coaches. A lot of the players who are failing to get forward are the same players that he's had. Tonali, world class. Bruno, world class. Joe Linton. These players are still all in good shape at a good age. It's not. It can't all just be like, Eddie Howe doesn't have any ideas. His style of football was what we're looking for right now. That exciting, pressing, attacking football that we've seen for so many years. So what is it that's actually changed? Does anybody have an answer for that?
On top of that defence, we've had to sell players like Isak, and he never wanted. Everyone mentions Anderson. He never wanted to sell Elliot Anderson. PSR dictated his stuff. So he has had to lose players, and I know people say obviously Ramsey and stuff and Elanga not working. That can happen when you come to a new club. Same with Volta, same with Wissa. But at the end of the day, the one person we know who can get it right at Newcastle, because Newcastle's not an easy place to succeed. Listen to the quotes of Gary Speed. Listen to the quotes of people like Scott Parker, who didn't even want to be captain because of the goldfish bowl and the pressure when Shearer retired. He was like, I didn't want to be captain. I wanted to get away. My good, not want to play football there. And I think Gary Speed said something about it doesn't take a good player to succeed. Newcastle takes a mentally strong player, because obviously, like I said at the start, very high. When it's high, it's like the greatest thing in the world. Inject it, bottle it, keep it. But when it's low, it's borderline like I don't know what I can and can't say,
No.
but
just the last one, just the last one before I let Gary overtake. I'm going to call you Birds because I can't see your full name, mate. Why did we pass the ball everywhere apart from in front of goal? I think that's a big one yesterday.
I think that's the issue with the two new strikers I was talking about. We're both having the first season at the club together. There's nobody to fall back on. Whereas when this was happening with Isak, early on in Isak's career, we had Wilson to fall back on, who was staying fit and scoring 18, 19 goals. That's the biggest issue. And again, I don't think Howe wanted Isak to leave. Wilson, we maybe could have kept looking at it. That could have been a bad decision. But a lot of the fans at the time was saying it's time to let Wilson go. He's too much money. We'll replace him. At the time, we thought we were probably going to have Isak around and we could fall back on Isak when this new person, whether it was like Atiki or whoever else we're interested in, was getting the feet under the rug, so to speak. Isak was the one to be there and be consistent because he knows how the team works. The problem is we've got two strikers who having the first season at the club together, and it's really difficult. Or it seems like it's difficult. That's why we're not passing or making the correct passes to get the best out of Volta or Wissa.
Yeah, so I mean, it comes
like
to
they're
something,
playing with
doesn't
their
it?
feet under the rug, Kev.
Can I just hit the nail on the head here with Warren's super chat there? KG, you hit the nail on the head. It's a ceiling. He didn't free you from jail, mate, but at least he gave you a super chat.
Exactly.
Oh, thanks anyway.
Last goal from open play was like 368 days ago. Believe it or not, January 25 against Wolves. I thought he was going to burst his bubble against Wolves. Literally a year, well, over a year now. What's happened to him? I mean, we can throw excuses about new players coming in, not transitioning in the shape very well. I think the problem is with the likes of Voltemada, he gets isolated. He hasn't got the recovery to get away from opponents. So he has to make sometimes his own stuff up. The one thing I noticed a lot more yesterday with Voltemada, especially with the two opponents on, sometimes he does make it very hard for himself because he's always on the half turn. And listen, I love the confidence in players. But when you've pulled two centre backs to the halfway line or just inside their own half, play the high line, the two full backs or wing backs, whichever way you want to call them, have gone a little bit deep. So you've got a little bit of width in behind. The ideal play in that instance would play the way you're facing. You've done your job by pulling the players out of position. You'd got Bruno and I think it was J7 in front of him. But instead of playing it straight back, one touch, and then going again, because you've got either Anthony Gordon or Harvey Barnes that virtually, if the ball was right, is behind. And the problem is with the likes of Voltemada, and I understand it. He wants to impress. He's a young lad. Yeah, he's just full of enthusiasm, and he wants to beat players. Excuse me. He wants to excite the crowd. I understand all that. But sometimes I think they're trying far too hard, as you've just said, to achieve. And I think that's when your game goes away from you. You see that with Elanga. But I still can't really give an excuse for Anthony Gordon. And I find listen, there's links going all over the place now saying that he's wanted by a couple of clubs. Is it time to go? Is it time for him to, chase his nose somewhere else? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, when you've got a forward line that ain't scoring at all, not contributing in any XG, it comes to something when Dan Burn has as much XG as our forward line. I mean, is it 7 games now without a goal for Voltemada? 1 assist in 29 appearances for Elanga? It's not looking good.
Voltemada's looked off the pace quite badly from where he was when he first came, and I know that he's getting used to the league, and I know that he's often getting double teamed, but he looked really, really good when he first came. His touch was amazing. He was doing little flicks here and there. He looked really energetic, and over the past few games, I haven't really seen that from him. So, I mean, do we think that he's tired now, or Like, what's
was relied
happening
on.
with
I think he
He
gets.
Voltemada?
was
I
relied
think
on
they've.
heavily, wasn't he? Go on, Ian.
I think Voltemada. Nobody knew who he was when he first started in this first half season they've seen. There's always a centre back virtually buggering him as the ball comes to him, and they're big old brutes. The centre backs. They're tougher than he is. He can't turn.
He's
So many
9
times
foot
he's got the
tall.
ball, and they're on him. And he. The amount of time, how many times have you seen Voltemada on his knees with his hands outstretched to the referee as the opponents storm forward towards our box? He's knocked off the ball too easily because they worked him out. I know it seems weird. He's only played 20 odd games for us. But we've got to find a different way of using him.
He'll
Maneuver
be.
the ball quickly enough so it comes to him when he hasn't got a centre half up his backside, and then he'll be able to do it. We're so bloody slow at moving the ball forwards that he's almost standing motionless on the halfway line when he gets it.
Just a couple of super chats here, lads. War Captain Bruno, release Tina from jail. Eddie in, not jail for
Thank
Tina.
you.
So I've ended up back in jail, which is a nightmare.
Wow.
And the next one, thanks Bodie for the coordinator job yesterday. Good job. Cheers, Warren. That's a lot coming from you, mate. I mean, that's a big compliment. It was a great day yesterday, Warren. I hope everybody in the chat enjoyed it as well.
The coordinator. That's a hell of a. Coordinator. I thought you said.
Yeah.
Woof. And
What do
obviously,
you think it meant?
I'm not going to say live on air. And obviously, this is going back to the Forest days. And again, we often said, what's happened to Ilanga since he's come? Well, obviously, we aren't Forest. We don't bring players on to us. We're obviously the blue team.
If we did, the fans would boot right off if we started sitting back like Forest did.
Yeah, look how far they are. Literally, they're 7 yards out of the penalty outside the touchline. So, I mean, for me, this is just proves. I'm going to play this on, and you can see exactly what he does here. Over the halfway line, he's still got 3 players round him, and he just carries on and carries on. Yeah, and he scores with his left foot. And I mean, it just proves, that he can do it when he's full of confidence. But I just don't know where that player is anymore.
That's the player I want. I mean, look at how sure of himself he looks. The strength he shows when he strong arms the defensive player as well.
But he's literally, that's what he's got. He's a runner. He's not got the technical ability to take a player on. He hasn't got it. For me, when you look at Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon as well, I suppose, they will look at a player face on and then they'll try and do something, work the ball, drop a shoulder. Ilanga isn't that type of player. Ilanga needs space to allow that pace to get in and behind. That's the type of animal he is. So the first question of a multiple question part of the show now is Eddie Howe adjusting the tactic to get more of a press from the opposition to allow the likes of Ilanga to utilise the space behind? Because if you've noticed, we're not on the identity now is the intensity. We're on the half press, and sometimes, as Ian has just said, even against the bottom club of the Premier League, we're actually still defending in a 4-5-1 shape. So is Eddie Howe trying to manipulate the formation to get space in and behind for Ilanga to go for?
Gary, I wish he was. I really, really wish that was the case. But in regards to this team at the minute, I think teams are so used to the way Newcastle United play, and it's the way most Premier League teams play. You neutralise each other. And I think that's part of the reason why you never get now really massive scores in the Premier League. You never get like a team going out and absolutely smashing another team in the Premier League, because everybody knows exactly how everybody's going to play. So you don't get the 5-1s, the 6-1s anymore. If you notice, the scores are always quite tight. And it's because we're all playing Pep ball. We're all playing the game that Pep set up in the Premier League. And it is a situation where each team, you're not going to get beaten because of in a massive scoreline because of the way you're setting up. But sometimes in football, you've just got to take a chance. you've got to go out there, and sort of think, let's go against the grain, let's put something up against them they're not used to. And there doesn't seem to be a single team in the Premier League, and this isn't getting at Howe or any of our coaching staff. There's no team out there willing to go against the norm at the minute. We need somebody to come into the Premier League and just think, right, I'm not going to play that way. I'm going to go with two players up front, or I'm going to change it slightly in regards to defence. I'm going to change it slightly in regards to tactics. But as I say, at the minute, everybody's just playing the, don't lose a game sort of tactics.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Foxy's putting in the chat there, it was Sunday League defending by Man U during their struggle times last season. So, listen, I'm not saying that Ilanga had to do a lot to get that goal against Man U, but what I'm saying is he has got the ability to run in behind. At this present moment in time, he doesn't even look like he could trap win, never mind a ball. And that is confidence. That is a mental approach
I
to
was
the
going
game.
to say, the biggest thing in that goal is when he gets the ball and he's starting to go towards right, he drives centrally, which any defender will tell you is an absolute disaster. You want him to go out wide there and you can hold him up.
Yeah,
for Newcastle, when he gets the ball, for whatever reason, it probably is just confidence. It's also the style of play. I don't think many Newcastle fans, before the season started, could have guessed how many teams would go low block. It's happened previous seasons where we thought, we struggle against the low block, don't we? But teams still try to come at us sometimes, and you'd be like, right, we're going to kill them because we've got Gordon and we're going to absolutely blah, blah, blah. And Isak was obviously on fire as well. Or the Rat. I still think he's a rat, by the way. It was a great comment before, but I just feel like now he's got his karma, I can call him Isak again. But it's a case of confidence is massive. He just runs towards the wing now. He doesn't want to give it away. I think playing away from home against them top teams like City and Liverpool is the best thing for him, because the Newcastle away fans are a lot more positive than Newcastle home fans. I think I said on this pod a while back when the ball came over from a crossfield ball, I think, from Shaw, and before he even touched the ball, I could hear groans. And he must be thinking, Christ almighty, I'm barely settled in the area. I've barely played as much as I want to because I'm bang out of form. My confidence is shot. And the fans are groaning before I even take my first touch. So he is in a difficult position. But I think these games coming up could actually be the making of him. I hope it is. I genuinely want to see him succeed, just because I can tell a lot of people around me in the stadium to do one. But I think it's really difficult at the minute. It's like I say, I'm not trying to make excuses, but obviously with two new strikers at the club, the way teams are now playing against us, it's difficult and we have to adapt. But we're still in an unbelievable position. However, you're right. We've got to start getting the best out of Ramsey Elanga pretty soon before it gets away from us, I think.
Right, before we go on, because I'm looking at the time and we've only got 35 minutes, so I've got 4 questions, and I'm going to fire one question at all of you, and we'll see how many we can get through on the different elements of Newcastle United. Boki's first. You ready for this? Let me have a look. 8th in the table, Boki. On paper, that's respectable, but does the league position flatten Newcastle right now or undersell the problems?
I think both, mate. In regards to it, can anybody say we've been brilliant in any game this season in regards to just taking into consideration league form? Can anybody say we've been great? I don't think they can. I don't think there's been a single game where we've had complete control. Maybe it's Everton a little bit, but I think that was a bit of a freak. But we've not had complete control in any game. So yes, it's worrying with league form. And I think as well, what you've got to look at, you've got to improve year on year on year. Are we going to improve this year league form? I'm beginning to have my doubts, especially if you look at February fixtures. I mean, if Eddie Howe goes through February and picks up a canny few points, don't get us wrong, I'll jump across ships like I'll be a flip-flopper and jump back on Eddie Howe's boat. You can clip that. but in regards to it, does anybody really see that happening? Especially after the Wolves game yesterday, there's just no change in anything. There's no change in the way we can play the game. So in regards to everything like that, there's just nothing changing that makes you think, yeah, I can see something good happening here. And that's my big worry, that I think as a manager, sometimes you've got to develop a team. And whether he's done that or not is something I think is up to everybody to look at themselves and decide if you're a happy clapper and you think he is developing teams, then great. But for me, as somebody who like looks at it realistically, I really don't think he is.
Interesting.
I wouldn't say developing. I wouldn't come on here as a happy captain and say he's definitely developing. It's one of the hardest things doing it, which makes Ferguson so good to kind of reinvent a team over and over again. It's so difficult. I just think I'm just really cautious of bringing in a different manager because it doesn't guarantee anything. All it guarantees is Newcastle fans will have more patience with that new manager, which I guess, I mean, it gets to a certain point depending on the atmosphere. I mean, at the minute when I go to the games, there's not many people I speak to, if any, even when idiots behind me aren't about. But going for, like that comment says there, Alonso or somebody like that terrifies us because we might get exactly what we deserve, wishing for somebody who's done our club so well and works the hardest he possibly. I remember when he first came, people were like, he stays till 9 o'clock at night and he gets here at 6 o'clock in the morning. We kind of forget how hard he works. But we could get someone like Alonso who rocks up at 10 o'clock, doesn't really do his own training, maybe. I don't know. By the way, I'm completely making this up. And then leaves at 4 p.m. and doesn't really care at all about the city, the fans, the culture, the identity of the club, anything like that. And I get the press is gone and intensity, our identity is gone. But that's just sheer number of games, and we can't go and buy a whole second team like Chelsea and Man City.
But on that, he's on £9 million a season, so he should bloody come in early in the morning and leave late at night. You know,
yeah, but I'm
I'm
not praising him for that. I'm saying if we go get another manager, and not me because I don't want this, the Newcastle fans who do want him gone might get exactly what we deserve, and all of a sudden Joe Linton looks like a donkey again. Other players look like donkeys again. Murphy looks like he can't even play like he did under Bruce. And then all of a sudden we're like, we didn't realise how good we had it. We're now 14th with Xabi Alonso with a £14 million release compensation. Now we're in big trouble. We're a mess. I'm genuinely terrified of that. And I think the pros and the cons, for me, don't outweigh taking my chance yet because we do know he works hard, like he should. You're absolutely right. But there's managers out there who don't. There's managers out there who just rock up when they want.
Steve Bruce.
When you watch the Inside Brentford thing, when Frank was at Brentford, all of his coaching staff control the training. He doesn't. I'm not saying anything against Frank. There's different styles, but I'm just saying as well, if you change manager, I know Howe wants to play attacking football, like Tina said, with 4 years history say that. I know we're not at the minute, and it's not great. However, we could get somebody in who plays football like Rafa, and all of a sudden I'm paying a ridiculous amount of money to go to a game and I'm watching us sit 10 men behind the ball at home to Burton Albion like Rafa did. I'm not saying that would happen, but we've got to be very careful what we wish for because we might get exactly what we deserve, which could be an Ancelotti and win the Champions League, very unlikely for Newcastle, by the way, or we could get mediocre 11th, 12th every season, nowhere near Champions League football, and somebody who just doesn't get the club at all. So I think we have to be very, very careful.
Guys, can I just do this super chat from
Warren? I was going to say.
Football is terrible and has been for a while. So much so I want to change to a continental manager like Alonso with a good understanding of how world football works. I think that's a point, mate. Maybe Eddie doesn't understand how European football does work. And thank you very much for the £5 super chat there, Warren, as well.
Cheers, was up. You know, I am not going to sit here and say he's not without faults. And I certainly isn't going to say, I'm not going to say, he's the world's best in the world that I've ever seen. I think there's two levels to what Kev was just saying there. His aptitude and attitude towards training puts him in an elite bracket. And I mean that in every sentiment that I can do. His work ethics are second to none. The biggest thing for me, you don't win games on a training field. You set your levels, you set your boundary, and you set players' attitudes. And that, to me, is where he fails. I think the step over from being an elite coach, and again, there's a lot of people out there that disagree that there's a management, and, Thomas Frank, you've just mentioned him there, more a manager than he is a coach. He allows his team to get on the field, on the training field. He likes to deal on the personnel, if you like, of being the manager of the club. And sometimes it works. And we've seen this with Real Madrid. Real Madrid had a manager with Ancelotti, worked really well. They've got a coach now. It hasn't worked at all because the players' egos take over. So sometimes you've got to have the right person at hand to give you a job. And that, for me, is why I keep saying, I don't think Eddie Howe has got the right backing in the number 2 slot. And again, I know it's his mate, and they've been up and down, but I think sometimes if you've got somebody with that little bit of knowledge that can work on the ground where they're playing football, where they're getting the points, I think that could help him out massively. I need to move on because we've got a few more questions, boys and girls. So the next one to you then, Tina. Nick Voltamato arrived with a big fee and big expectations, but form and minutes haven't followed. Is this a system issue, a player issue, or just adaptation time?
Gary, just to give Tina a little bit of time to think on that, can I just quickly do this super chat from Warren? If you're happy with another one, if you're happy with donkeys and support Blackpool, does anybody know what the donkeys at Blackpool get for the dinner?
No idea.
About half an hour.
I'm still stealing that for tomorrow.
Oh, I tell you, I was waiting for something better
we
than
might
that.
end up with a team full of donkeys if we don't get a man who can be a good coach.
Sorry, Tina. Go on, you go for your answer, Tina.
That's quite a tough question, to be fair.
That's why I've given it you.
Part of it could be to do with system, because I don't think we've had like a proper structure this season. I think it looks like we've been a little bit wishy-washy, not really fully understanding what the briefing is. At the same time, when he first came in, he did look a lot like the player who we did try to spend a lot of money on. I think what it is at the core of it is that teams have started to realise that he's a threat and started trying to mark him out of the game a bit more than they were when he first came. Definitely, I could see him being the type of player who, in his second season, is a bit more of a world beater, because he's just got that kind of style. Like, if you watch him before he came to us, he used to run at defences a lot. He used to have a very delicate touch. He used to have a lot of confidence. And I don't see the running at players happening much at the moment. I don't see a lot of anything at the moment. So I think he has just kind of hit that part where he just needs to kind of adapt to the defences of the Premier League. And then once he's got used to that, I think we'll start to see a bit more of the Walter Mata that we spent £65 million on.
Statistically, he's good, though, isn't he? Goal contribution, he's one in two. Just 1 and 2 in terms of assisting goal. And his first season as well is different. I think Isak's first season was poor, so he needs time. But I agree with almost everything Tina said there. It's probably a bit of both. It's us adapting.
Sorry that I've still got a bit of a cold, by the way, if people keep hearing me sniffing or not being able to enunciate vowels.
Ian, here's one for you then, mate. Because our mate Kev has already answered this to a degree, but I'm going to throw it at you anyway. So when confidence drops, what role do the fans play? Help or harm?
A double-edged sword, isn't it? I think ultimately it should be helpful. I'm sure they'll be buoyant in confidence in the first 10 minutes on Wednesday night against PSV. The fans will be right behind the team. It's a big, big game under the lights. One of our nights, one of our European nights. The crowd will be up. But I sat in some crowds when Steve Bruce was manager, and whoever was playing never had much of a chance at the start because the crowd was already expecting disappointment, and that's what they got. So, we play an important role. We are the 12th man at St James's Park, and I know it's always a buoyant, noisy bunch that travel away as well. But I mean, to be fair, those guys. I mean, I know they kept singing through till the end, didn't they? But they were quiet in comparison to normal. I heard.
I mean, I was there. I
didn't see anything. They didn't see anything on the pitch to get them up. That's what
the
we
problem
need.
is at Wolves because they sit through the middle on the lower tier, so you're very much at ground level. It's very difficult to get the sound going at Molineux, and I think that is a tact that Molineux do really well. I mean, don't get me wrong; they were singing, but it wasn't buoyant. You know what I mean? And again, as it went on and on in the game, it did seem to get a little less and less and less. So you're absolutely right. I think it
Well, I've
was.
watched one or two of the vlogs of the lads who were there who said it was a poor away end, and they're comparing it to the guys singing through the Brentford loss and the West Ham loss. So I think that's the repetition, isn't it? And I think, I agree entirely with what you said before, Tina, Eddie, and Kev, and that's where I am. Howe has made us play some really attacking football, and I'm really thrilled with it. It's just that he seems to have lost his nerve when he's playing away from home. I can't understand why we're setting up
Probably the pressure.
to come away pleased with a clean sheet and a point at Wolves.
Yeah,
it
seems as up to me now.
He needed somebody to do something special to step forward and be the match winner. So he was going for the same sort of 1-0 we ground out at West Ham.
I disagree with that.
Cup final.
I think before the game he wouldn't have been relying on that. I think when he's probably analysed where the games went and has realised, how well they're defending in the low block, he's probably then thinking we haven't, we now need something special. Which I think again it's harsh criticising on a press conference or post-match conference because he's had no time to really look back and see what the issues were. That'll be all happening probably the day after, and then trying to hopefully be addressed the day after that. But then you can't really overtrain them because of the amount of games.
Kev, he said in that his assumption was it was going to be a really tight game. Why? Nobody else has had a really tight game at Wolves. I think it's February the last time they won at home. Yeah, some of them
didn't we
draw had some draws.
Did we not draw against Man U in a tight game?
Yeah.
Maybe last week. Yeah, okay, but they shouldn't be making a tight game for that Newcastle team that has won 7 and 8 games away from home in the last 2 or 3 seasons.
I agree. We should be winning that game
because we're playing differently. We're playing differently, and it's not just that Wolves game. We played differently at Burnley, and it worked because we scored 3 goals. But it was a dreadful, dreadful game that we ground out. And we've lost games and we've left points behind. We were excellent away at Aston Villa in the first game, and that was 0-0. But we were really, really good there. But then we turn up to play 5 at the back away from Leeds in the second game.
It's a weird season. I think you've got to look at the environment, the whole experiment in, so to speak. And it was like the whole league is, I think, I can't remember who said it earlier. None of the top 4 won, but all the bottom 5 won. It's just a strange season. It's one of them weird kind of things which happening. I'm not saying I'm happy with a point away at Wolves, of course I'm not, but we just have to. Again, the fan base, right? That was a great question about help or hindrance. The fan base, when we're together and united behind one manager and the whole club and players, are incredible. One of the best fan bases around. However, as soon as there's a moment of split, like when Bobby got sacked, which was horrendous, by the way, as soon as there's a slight split, it affects everything. It filters onto the pitch. It filters into. Players will be reading social media comments. It'll be very, very tough then, and then that's when you start second guessing yourself. So the fans can be the greatest thing we have, but it can also be a horrendous hindrance depending on either just bored of one manager or bored of certain players. I don't know. Tough.
I'm going
to throw some in, lads. Just to jump in, lads. Can we do the super chat? Yeah, was us in there again. We need that. Should we do the Geordie? Vavavoom.
Vavavoom.
Vavavoom. Back like we do or die. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And I completely agree with you. That's what we need. We need a little bit of something, special to happen in games. And, your super chat's completely right there, mate, 100%.
I agree with him, but how much does that happen in games now? Football's gone boring on it. Somebody said it before. I think it was you, Bo. You have kind of pep. Where shooting from 30 yards is against, and taking a player on and losing it is oh my God, don't do that. So for me, it's it's difficult because football's completely changed. I love them old days of shooting from 30 yards, Lauren Robert, and Ben Arthur players just trying to dribble past the whole team. But that doesn't exist anymore. We're all about stats and keeping the ball and don't give it away and make sure your passing stats are high and go backwards and so. I hate it, by the way, but the game's just so different. But I agree, that's exactly what we need.
It has changed.
I think what we need to remind Gary is as well in the chat of everybody that after we're finished, you've got the live Toon commentary from Chris and Win together. They're coming live from Newcastle, so keep watching. Any lads are there, so let's keep watching after 9:30, and you'll see you've had the best, and you'll have the rest after that. So
I love it. You see, I mean, you're right. Well, what you're just saying, the game has changed massively from where it was. But when you're against a low block, the only thing that draws a low block closer to you is if you're working a keeper, and you can work a keeper from anywhere from 30 yards, especially on a ground like it was yesterday. It was so slippy, it was unreal. It was nice to see the lads not fall, if I'm honest with you. It's obviously only at St James's Park that we slip, which is crazy. Now, I'm going to work on some stats, right? This is what I'm going to throw a question after these things that I've just said to you, and the question will be fired directly after it. So this is Wolves, conceded 41 goals in 21 league matches, the worst defensive record in the division. Wolves have won just once in 21 Premier League matches. Wolves are underperforming their expected points by 16.6. Wolves have scored just 5 second-half goals in the league this season, right? So there's some stats that us fans will look at and go, we should be absolutely annihilating these guys because it's not great thinking. But when you look at what Foxy's just put in the chat there, they turned a corner 4 games ago. It was a tight loss against Liverpool, 2-1 at Anfield. But after that, there's been a lot of draws and the win against Everton. So my question to you is quite simple. So do you see patterns in attack, or does it feel like Newcastle are hoping something happens rather than making it happen? And do you think Eddie has a do not lose rather than we must win philosophy?
Definitely not do not lose philosophy. I think we've seen over 4 years, and even the Leeds game recently was just, my God, try and score one more. In terms of making things happen, I honestly think we've overrated every single player down to Howe's amazing coaching. So I think we think, maybe not this season because Barnes been winning, but I think we probably think Gordon's better than what he is because he's not that good. We probably think, I know he's injured, but Burns better than what he is. We probably think Tonali is better than what he actually is. We probably thought Isak was better than what he actually is. We probably think Shaw is better than what he actually, like all of it. I think that's the issue here, is he's probably took most of the players to a ceiling, and now it's a case of we're seeing the true kind of form in some players like Gordon, who's miles off it. And it's a case of, well, he did amazing to get what he got out of him for a long period of time. And this is where you can throw shade. You could then say, well, Ferguson would be brutal. If Ferguson got what he got out of Gordon, he would have cashed in on Gordon for 95 million and laughed his head off. Whereas we were maybe a little bit too loyal. But I remember when Gordon was being linked to moves away, we were like, oh, don't sell Gordon, like 10 goals, 10 assists or whatever that season was. And obviously the players just can't keep up the level which they're not actually at. Which is also a compliment and a criticism in one way. But I think that's probably the real issue, is these players we're so used to. Tina mentioned it before, like it's relatively the same team. The players we're used to seeing him playing amazing just aren't that good, and he got them that good for a period of time, and it's very hard to sustain that levels.
Brilliant.
Okay, Kev, can I just pick you up on that a little bit? In regards to what you've just said, I agree a little bit in regards to he did get the best out of players. So why has he stopped getting the best out of him? He's this great coach that develops players. Why isn't that happening with Gordon now? Why hasn't he developed them further?
I think it's
Gordon's now gone backwards. There's a lot of players. Tonali seems to have been starting to go backwards. Yeah. Why is Eddie, who's this great coach who develops players, not able to keep it going?
I think it's potentially if Tonali's a 7 out of 10 every game, or 6 out of 10 every game, that's kind of what he's went back to. Whereas before he had him as an 8 and 9. Gordon, maybe on average, was a 6, 7 out of 10 every game, but he got him up to 8 and 9. Some players just can't go past that ceiling and never will. You look at the likes of Ronaldo and Messi, who completely...
Why they stopped where they are now? Why they've gone backwards? Why hasn't he kept them at that level?
Well, when you look into sports science, look at peak performance, or you look at certain seasons. So tennis players peak 4 Grand Slams and never play that well in the lower tournaments. Obviously, certain times of the season, you aim to peak players. I think for a long time, he probably had them at the peak longer than what anybody expected, and it's almost impossible to keep that up. So I think when you look at training plans and aims and targets, it's borderline impossible to keep them at that level for that period of time. And that's when you need fresh blood, new signings. But obviously, we do have hands tied behind our back. And we struggle to let go of players because we get so emotionally attached as fans.
Yeah, it's a great response from that. But I also want to add with the coach, a coach is only limited to what the player wants to bring out. You know, it's a 50-50 relationship. A coach will show you the ropes, but he can't kick a ball for you. So you can, it's the old adage, isn't it? You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's the thing, Eddie has done, and you can see that in certain things. The staleness comes from standing still, not developing the side enough, or bringing in players that aren't quite fitting the mark. And that could be, a system situation. Does he have to adjust the system? By adjusting the system, then you're going to get a fall off from not just one player, you're going to get a fall off from 3 or 4 because they're all adjusting at the same time. So it's like we always say, when you bring 3 players on, sometimes for 5 or 10 minutes, after them substitutions, the game just goes a little bit awry because everybody's trying to find their feet, get up to match speed. And sometimes I think it's a massive gamble for Eddie throwing all of the bodies on at the one point, especially in areas where you need to try and get goals. I am aware of time. Yeah, go on in.
Can I just say that these lads could be inspired to hammer PSV on Wednesday, to comfortably beat a very poor Villa side they looked when they got beat at home against Everton following Saturday. And by Sunday night, when we're chatting, we might be thinking that these players aren't off their peak anymore, but Howe has improved them and they continue with that. And but just a really bloody awful game. Because they keep doing that, don't they? Keep playing really badly and coming back and then beating Man City or 3-0 against Benfica. That was a good. Elanga was good in that game. Right?
I must admit, though,
it's weird.
It's so inconsistent. McGinn going off for Villa seemed to throw Villa all over the place.
They were terrible, weren't they? They were terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And McGinn, I think, can't be fit on Saturday, can he?
Anything can happen over these next couple of games. We could get versions of Arsenal against Forest. We could get the version of Villa against Everton. It's that season where, honestly, we don't know what version we're going to get of Newcastle.
4 on the trot.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Man City at the weekend as well.
Elanga.
Sorry, what were you saying, Christina?
I was going to say, when these games coming up that look scary on paper might actually suit us a lot better. We could do Villa. We could get something at Liverpool. They've drawn 4 on the bounce. City aren't in a very good run.
It's a crazy one.
What were you saying, Christina? Did you have
Oh, he's back.
Do you have something to say there, Christina, before I do the super chat?
No, mine was literally just like when we're talking about like different versions of teams. Like, look at Manchester City in the Manchester derby as opposed to the Manchester City that we played against. Like, every single team, as Kev said this season, every single team's failing to show any sort of consistency, and you're getting a very Jekyll and Hyde performance from every team, not just ourselves. That was literally all I was going to add.
That's a great point, though. Like, that's probably a better point when, because I've been trying to say that for so long, but you put it better. You put it better than I ever could have. But yeah,
I just tapped it in. You played it across the box. I just tapped it in.
I'll do all the hard work like Ginola.
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
get the
You graph, mate. Yeah, exactly.
Just a quick one. We'll do this super chat. JK, thank you very much, mate. Big up, peeps. Lord Bogey. Here, Christina. Mate. I got a punch and a bit of fire, and you got love hearts, Christina.
Oh, exactly.
Something we said about
absolutely. Right then, next question then, team. Boki, Eddie Howe has said the club doesn't have the financial ability to add attacking players this window. Are fans finally accepting that reality or still expecting miracles?
I kind of get it this window that I think the focus this window has to be on defence. And, I mean, we spent a lot in the summer. When you look at it, we spent a hell of a lot in the summer on attacking players. And Eddie got the players he wanted. They might not have been his first choices, but because the way the summer went, he got players who he wanted in attack. But I think now when you look at the defence, because of the age of it and the injuries we've had, it has to be the focus there. So if you're going to spend anything, I think you spend it on a full-back and a central defender. And not only doesn't add any issues in regards to the summer, because I think that's exactly where we would have been in the summer as well. They're exactly the type of players you'd need to have signed. So, yeah, for me, I get it this window. We're not going to particularly sign an attacker, but we need to sign somebody who can obviously bring something to the defence just to help out a little bit, because we're really, really struggling on the bones of our horses, basically.
I can add a quick 2 seconds to that as well. Great point about spending lots of money in the summer, but we also have to acknowledge that it was our first spending spree for 3-4 windows. So again, we haven't exactly. I know people say, "Oh, we spent loads on something," which we did, but I mean, over the 3 or 4 years, we're still miles behind where we probably wanted to spend because of again PSR rules.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 70 million a window, isn't it? It's pittance, really. Okay, then, Christina, if you're limited financially, where do you prioritise? Defence, midfield, or accept you're gambling on goals coming from within?
Right now, or across the board?
Right where we are now.
Right where we are now.
2 weeks before the end of this window. So that is what I want you to think about.
I mean, I think in the position that we're in now, we have to look at defensive players to bring in. I think having a bit more cover defensively. I think we've got a team that can score goals. They might not have the confidence that they need at the moment, but I don't think we need more attacking players. I think Walter Mara has already, shown us glimpses of what we're going to get from him. And I think Wissa, when he gets good, we've seen that he can, bag goals in the Premier League. So I think the fact that we've got long-term injuries to our back, well, however many you want to play at the back, let's say back 4, because that's what people generically say. Long-term injury to Shaw, who, as much as it pains me to say, is starting to push on in years a little bit. Tino has a lot of injuries. We're having to put Miley at right back. Miley's playing great at right back, don't get me wrong, but it would definitely be nice to have a little bit of freedom to maybe play Miley in the 6. So definitely bringing a defender. That would be my focus, would be defence. I mean, even Dan Burn, and I know that Eddie's saying that we need to see where players are coming back, because we do have Botman who's coming back. He's not too old yet. We've got Chow, we've got Dan Burn and Cher to come back from injury, we've got Tino, but I think fullback cover is something that we've been crying out for this season. So even if you were taking the chance on another year of Dan Burn and Fabian Cher, fullbacks absolute must be a priority. I think everywhere else on the field, we've got bags of cover and bags of talent. Once we click, I think this team could still blow teams away. But defensively, we need something a bit more solid.
Ian,
he's
patient.
Go on. Sorry, I was going to agree. I think we need a left back, and if we can get some centre back cover, then they don't cost too much, because they're going to be young lads, French probably. What I was going to say was, though, we've spent so much on attackers. One that I haven't seen enough of to see where he would go to is Asula, who's coming back from injury. I wouldn't mind seeing him go down the right hand side. He's done a few cameos down there. He's fast. He's strong. I don't think he would have been chatting to the Wolves back line. I think he would have got him in amongst them.
Yeah, you're right.
I agree. I love Asula, to be honest.
Michael thinks he's not good enough. That's why we're going to sell him and cash in on him. But I think we need him.
He's like a Labrador with ADHD.
We give Visser a 4 and Voltamada a 4.5, and that's where we were in terms of attacking.
It's criminal,
Wolves.
mate.
We've got to shake it up.
Just do this super chat, lads. We need a new manager. Why isn't he sacked yet?
He's sacked because he's only 3.
For the last hour and a half.
Do you know what? I agree with Jeff. I agree with Jeff as well. If we hadn't won the cup last year, would Howe still be here now?
Yes, 100%.
Question to you guys.
What's our expectation though? Like, if it's qualifying for Champions League every season or aiming for it, then we're doing it in terms of 2 out of 3 full seasons and we're 3 points off.
That's not the question.
That's why he'd still be there. He would, yes, he would still be there.
The question is, if he hadn't won the cup last year, and he didn't have that credit in the bank, would he be where he is after spending that much money in the summer? Would he still be in position?
Yes, because the 3 summers before that, there was no spending.
Plus, on top of that, it wasn't supposed to be going to be his job to recruit players. That was just kind of thrown on him. Oh, by the way, Eddie, we've sacked our recruitment officer. Can you just take care of that as well while you're doing all the training for pre-season? Oh, by the way, Isaac's not coming back, so we've sent him away to train by himself. We're probably going to sell him. You might want to start trying to bring some strikers in. Or those 2 strikers that we were looking at earlier on in the year, they've gone to Liverpool and Manchester. So good luck with that, Eddie. By the way, can you motivate the team at the same time? Because we've got a few pre-season friendlies coming up. So I would say
hang on, a little bit on the other side of that. Who actually decided that we didn't have a director of football at the end of the day? According to every report, it was Eddie Howe who stormed up them stairs.
He doesn't have that power.
Went and got rid of Mitchell. So is it Eddie that went up and sitting away?
What was so behind that though? You have to look at he's not just turned up and Eddie's just went, oh, I don't like his hair. We're going to have to get rid of him. So there's clearly been some sort of rocking the boat that's caused that. And you can't have that if you're the manager in charge of a team that you're trying to take on to being the most elite team by 2030. You can't have dissension in the ranks. You can't have somebody who either is trying to bring in the wrong players. We don't know what happened between Mitchell and Howe, but something obviously happened. And whatever happened there did then have a domino effect.
A bit like that, Christina. I don't know what's happened between Jeffers and Wazza in the chat, but I will read out the super chat. Listen, don't talk about Chris like that. Not nice.
I think that was about the manager.
I've got no idea what's been going on in the chat.
If you look at the expectation,
just reading out the super chat.
The expectation Newcastle are regularly challenged for Champions League places. He's doing it regardless of whether he wins a cup or not, and that's the main reason he'd still be there. And I get we haven't spent great so far, and in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. But when we signed Alanga, I was well excited. When we signed Ramsey, I was well excited, and it just for whatever reason hasn't worked out. We'll get there, but I think you can't just go down the route of he wouldn't be there because what he's given us and what he's doing. Even now, he's 3 points off our target. He's 3 points off. That's it. And with fans are in meltdown, Newcastle fans at time can be the biggest hindrance, or they can be the biggest help.
I'm just going to speak you on that. We're 3 points off at the minute. If we keep going like that, it means we're 6 or 7 points off at the end of the season.
Yeah, so, but why do we think we'll keep going like that? How turn it around?
6 or 7 points by the end.
Yeah, but you could also say we win the next 2 games and we're sat 4th comfortably in the next part of the championship.
100%. But you can use it either way. I think it's the top of it. Another quick super chat there from Jeffers. Chris knows the
Missouri Mafia. I ain't that
Missouri
brave.
Mafia. I ain't that brave. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Listen, the lads are virtually going to come on in a couple of minutes, so I've got one more question. And because you guys have been talking amongst yourselves for a bit, I want to aim this one question at Ian and Kev, right? I want you two to hammer this one out, right? Is patience in January
always on the same side
or dangerous given the fixtures coming up?
Sensible.
Okay. Yeah. So at this present moment in time, you're both happy just to wait to make sure.
We'll get players back. We will. I know people hate saying we'll wait for players back, but I don't understand what we expect in terms of financially. Like, we're expecting
to beat Wolves, Kev.
What?
We're expecting to beat Wolves, Kev.
I agree. I've spoke about that, but again, we've got to be. Look, nobody.
He is actually Scottish now.
None of the top 4 won. Chris is Scottish. I love that.
Scottish. I had some proper haggis, man. Now I've
stand up. Let's have a look at your sporran.
He looks great.
And we won our independence, by the way.
Yeah.
How's it going, lads? All good?
How you doing? Are you still sober?
Oh, we're good, man. We're good. Oh, fucking hell, man. Look,
you had enough yesterday, according to the rumours, Willie.
Hey, back to this dude. He unbelievable, man. He was scraping.
Next hour and a half is going to be unhinged.
Oh man, it's going to be amazing. You guys have done pretty well though. Very balanced. I like it, man. I like it. Boki on super chat duty. I like that.
Yeah, oh yes.
It's the Unleashed show after this, isn't it?
It is. It is. Hold on to your britches.
Any last thoughts, in lads?
We're knackered.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Still
I have one quick question for
Gotta
Bulky
stick
before we
with
go.
Eddie.
go on.
This time last year, right? Did you think Newcastle United would have won a trophy?
Of course I did. I think we'd win 3 trophies. I think Eddie and that would do by doing it.
That's cat. That's lying.
What a great answer.
Question, I've answered it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
That was a good answer.
Fair
Just
enough.
like opening the door and just saying, "There you go."
Just one quick one before we do go, lads. Was I know the benefits of the mafia? I know you, B King. You know
the Benwell Mafia.
Was I? Thank you very much for the super chat tonight.
mate.
Cheers,
Yeah,
mate.
thank you, Waza.
Thank you very
Even
much,
though you
all
put
of
me
you
in
out there.
jail.
Lovely stuff. I appreciate all of you out there. Thank you for the hard work. And the late night show starts now, ladies and gents. Cheers, Ian. Cheers, Kevin, Boki, Gary, and Tina. We'll see you in a bit. Take care.
We're the
Right?
lads.
Look at show.
Away the lads.
Masses and bands.
Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC Late Night Show with Chris the American Man, Derek Demadiwan, Rory Caviani, and the rest of the panel, Monday through Thursday from 9:30 p.m. UK and UFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. We are live here from the Gosford Empire in Gosford, of course. And, well, first of all, I got some Chinese here that's screaming for my name, but I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to have some abstinence, and we'll talk after the show, of course. We got the Toon Twins in the house. Unfortunately, the Mighty Win is with us. He's like a tick, man. He can't get rid of him. He's onto me like a tick. Win, we went to Scotland today.
We did.
He is the worst tour guide in the history of civil. He made me walk. I'm a 100% disabled veteran, man. He made me walk steps. Oh my God, it was just crazy.
He wanted to do with the castle. He wanted to do with the museum. He wanted to do with the gallery. He wanted to do with the grand tour. You gotta walk.
Yeah, and it was absolutely Baltic as far as the weather is concerned. It was criminal. I had to go get a scarf, gloves. It was a good experience, and I had some haggis. That was just the greatest thing I've tasted in a long time. You guys had haggis before?
No, I haven't. Like.
Oh my, that no wonder, man.
Oh, it's how's the Magpie Avengers? I thought it was how's the Haggis Avengers.
The Magpie Avengers, the Maggie Avengers could be. He might be calling you a Maggie.
Thank you for whoever that was. I can't read from you.
But we got, of course, the match to talk about. We got news to talk about. Newcastle United, of course, not having enough to beat Wolves. We're going to talk about the aftermath. We're going to interact with you, of course. We see your chats scrolling through. And let us know if the sound is okay, if everything is good. Yeah, when you speak, Wayne, you just got to speak to the mic, man. It's not hard. But why? Hold on, because you're going to knacker the cable. So whenever you hit a frog, disconnect it and connect it again. So the Toon Twins coming from, of course, from Washington. Did you come from Washington, or did you go? Did you go to Gateshead? Did you go to Borough today? Fucking hell! He was with us until late night, and then he went to Middlesbrough. We don't know why you keep going to Middlesbrough. No, this morning you did, of course. We don't know why he goes to Middlesbrough. I don't know if there's a lass there, or he might be a secret, Borough fan, a smuggy. But but regardless, how was the ride? How long is it to go there, by the way? An hour?
Bus is about an hour 25 minutes.
So the same as Edinburgh in the train. Well, sort of.
It's a bit of a slog to get there because the bus kind of goes around the world a little bit. But
yeah.
Yeah, I'm back now. I'm away from the fumes. Back to Tyneside, so
back to Tyneside, baby. There you go. I mean, so we're gonna, of course, listen. Smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Send in your super chats. Become a member if you can. That goes a long way. Help the channel grow, of course. But become a member, $4.99, to get all the stuff. You can enjoy the players' course that came out fresh out the oven from Michael Gramslow and Ian Mackay, who was just there in the early night show. That was a great player rating. So go watch that if you're a member. If you're already a member. If you're not, please become a member now. Help the channel grow. So we're going to get to your comments, of course. But what do we think the day after? Maybe we had time to think it over, or I mean, what is a lot of people are talking about Eddie Howe, Eddie Howe. To me, that's you can feel how you want to about him, and I have my personal beliefs. I don't think he can take us any. I think it's going to be the same. However, that conversation really doesn't help anything right now. It just doesn't. I mean, because I don't think sacking him will do anything, and it won't happen anyway. You know, we can say that we want to sack him, but it's not going to happen. PIF are not going to get rid of him. I mean, I guess unless we lose every game from now on until for the next 10 games or something. Maybe something like that will happen. But
that's a possibility, of course.
And you'll be happy about that.
No,
you'd be excusing it, of course. So, I mean, people want to talk about Eddie Howe, Eddie N. Does that help anything right now?
I don't think it does at all. I don't think it's warranted. That's another story altogether. You know, it's been done to death. We've done it to death. But it keeps on raising its ugly head. And, you know, all I see is, and people laugh at me for saying it, but for me, right now, he has sufficient credit in the bank to give him every chance. And we've always had a better second half to the season than we've had to the first half of the season. Historically, under Eddie, there's no reason why it shouldn't happen again. We've got a tough run of fixtures coming up, but we've just had an easy run, which has allowed us to get to where we are now. So, you know, bring it on. Let's see what happens.
Aye.
Go on, Peter.
I'll come in on that point as well, right? Because, like, I agree. I think in terms of Eddie Howe, I think Kev speaks a lot of sense. You know, Kev was saying earlier that, I mean, to me, we were saying this last week about how football is not an exact science, and sometimes the analysis that you hear, in general these days, comes across like, you know, you do this, you put this chess piece there, you do that, and it's just gonna click like automatically. Like you say, you don't play football on paper, you play on grass, and like it's a sport, like Kev was saying, and that with that comes unpredictability. So you're never gonna get a fixture list where you look at it and you go like, we're gonna win this game, lose that game, draw that game, and it works out exactly like that. It doesn't pan out as you'd expect for any team. So that's where I think the kind of the meltdown, if you like, is a bit, for me, a bit over the top when we don't win a game that we thought we would win. Now, I'm saying that, and I'm backing Howe because of what he's done for us, and 2 Champions League qualifications, silverware straight off the bat, pretty much since he came in. You would think that would warrant kind of riding through a rocky spell. A bit of loyalty, aye. Now I'm saying that, and I will always kind of like reiterate that whenever like it gets rocky. But what I will say is that yes, on the other hand, I do get the criticism in terms of, you know, there's things that we look at and we think, well, maybe Eddie Howe could be doing this differently or doing that differently. And just on that, I just want to go to a quote that I came across. It was like last year. I came across this quote from Fabregas, Cesc Fabregas, who's manager in Italy these days. Como. And he's apparently, I mean, I can't sit here and say like I've watched Como because I haven't, but by all accounts, they are doing pretty well. So there's a quote that he said last year that I thought was brilliant, because a lot of the issues people are kind of banging on about from the Wolves game, and I think from a lot of games this season, for me, it ties into a wider point in terms of football and just football managers in general from all clubs, not just Premier League as well. You're talking about like the Championship, you're talking about overseas, Serie A, La Liga. You're going to see the same issues in these other clubs and these other leagues. And what Fabregas said, basically, I'll read it out. He said last year, he says the number 10 position is disappearing from football. Guys of the quality of Ozil, James Rodriguez, no longer interest coaches.
Oh, there you go.
These players are capable of unlocking a match with a brilliant pass, But now the coach prefers to have a stable structure. And then he goes on to talk about when Conte came in at Chelsea. He says he started to see what modern football was all about. Robotic training, split sessions, lots of running. He says he couldn't believe it. He says, I was in shock because I've always been a player who depended on creativity. He says, which for me is the best of the arts. And I think we saw that against Wolves, like this pendulum, as you know, Gary says, it's side to side, and like I say, you will see that from a lot of teams, not just Eddie Howe's Newcastle. And for me, I think it's a problem in football in general, and someone is going to have to kind of step forward. And I don't know if Fabregas has done that since he's become manager. After he said all that, I mean, hopefully he has kind of expanded things a bit. But I just think like football is in a crisis. Might be a bit too strong a word, but it's in a funny way at the moment where I think possession is like king. Exactly, and it's like also there's so much money involved now in football. Teams are terrified to give the ball away. Aye, well, having said that, they do give it away in stupid areas like their own penalty box. But that's because they're so ingrained in this possession ethos. Yeah.
But that's kind of how, you know, the Eddie Howe needs to change if he's trying to play possession football. Which, by the way, I don't really see it. Passing the ball around from side to side. You know, I don't see us really. By the way, just based on the players that we put on the pitch, or we even signed, they're not possession-based players. You know, you can say Ramsey carries the ball, but it's not really a thinker of the game, if you will. You know, he's not a Xavi Hernandez in his heyday. You know, great passer as well. So,
but he's more creative than J7, who's been brought in.
Yeah, but I'm more creative than you. That doesn't say much about me. You know what I mean? I'm more creative than you, but that just means you're rubbish. That means you're rubbish. So you know what I mean? But it doesn't say much. You know what I mean? So shouldn't he have gone for somebody like Tonali or a Bruno that can actually think and pass and think the game as opposed to just running?
I think there's an argument that Ramsey could have played yesterday even instead of Tonali, because I think Ramsey has looked better going forward than Tonali recently. I think Tonali needs to improve in the final third and do these things that you're talking about, Peter, in terms of creativity. He's a quality player. But I think, like yesterday, there was a case where, you know, Eddie Howe and everybody else looks at the midfield and always thinks that J7, Bruno and Tonali is blatantly the best three. And it's like, whatever the game is, that's the go-to. But I reckon, like against Wolves, when they're sitting so deep, I think variation would have helped. And I reckon Ramsey, he's got that acceleration and he's got that quick incisiveness. Don't get us wrong, like obviously he hasn't scored for us, he hasn't got loads of assists, if any, but I think he's got that nippy movement in the final third that could have unlocked him. And I think Eddie Howe was stuck and wedded to this midfield three that I've just mentioned. And I think it's a case of kind of playing fixture instead of just playing the quote strongest midfield on paper.
I wouldn't have objected to Ramsey being in yesterday for J7. You know, I said when we did the preview that, you know, I'm all for changing one of them, and it's obviously Ramsey in front of Willock as well, by the way, because I think Willock's days are done. But we're just having problems with the mic here.
No, I think you may be. Is he a little low? Yeah, he's a little low IQ anyway. But we're gonna get you sorted. It's good that people don't hear you anyway. But go on and talk without.
Yeah. So like I'm saying, I had no objection to playing. You know, rotation is what we're talking about, and I had no objection to. I don't mind discriminate location, not indiscriminate rotation. Because to me, if you're changing 4 or 5 players at the same time, you're not even giving those players that are coming in a fair crack of the whip, because they aren't playing with the best players around them. They're playing with another 3 subpar players, if you like.
Yeah, I get that.
So I'm all for putting a couple in, and then there's a couple you can argue, are they that much of a drop-off? For example, I would have said that about Trippier. I would have said playing trips for Tino is not that much of a drop-off. No. However, that's what I would have said. And his last couple of performances, I don't know whether his heart's not in it now or just age has finally caught up with him. With that last injury.
We got some super chats here. Jefferson says, lads, where are the standards? We are stagnant. Also, he sends another one in and says, we need a tactician and a creative manager, Eddie out.
Get away.
But hold on, but why? Let's talk about his point though. Is Eddie Howe? So do we need a tactician? Is Eddie Howe a tactician? Do we need a creative manager? Is he a creative manager to where he's going to do something to save our bacon? You know what I mean? Or is he going to do the same thing all the time? Well, so it's supposed to attack Jefferson like you are doing. Think of what he's saying.
Well, no, because what I would say with the squad we've got right now, which Jefferson points out ad infinitum, is a squad of runners and not skillful playmakers. I don't dispute that for a minute. They are more athletic than they are skillful. But that is the sort of football that we have enjoyed massively, by the way. High press, attacking football, which has brought him the success that he's had. And I think it's his attempt to become this, if you like, tactician, pep type manager, which is costing us right now. I'd far rather go back to what Eddie does best and have more of that. Thank you very much.
Yep. The thing of that is that we bought Voltemada, and that wasn't a like for like with Isaac, was it? And obviously we were at our best with Isaac doing what you just said there. So I think that's where we let ourselves down. Eddie Howe's let himself down in that was the perfect chance to evolve with Voltemada, you know. And I think asking him to be the focal point up top and to be pressing, it doesn't work. So I think, to go to your point as well, Peter, about the number 10 position, that was perfect to bring in Voltemada and say, okay, we're going to evolve a bit. We're going to play Voltemada. We're going to drop one of the midfielders, play Voltemada at the tip of the midfield 3, if you like, you know, with, say, Sandro and Bruno behind him. And then we're set up front, or whoever up front. And he's trying to, yes, okay, I know what you're saying, when he's trying to kind of but try and play a kind of a different type of style, if you like, where it's not as gung-ho. But at the same time, he's not actually changing the template. He's playing Voltemada in the Isaac role, and that's just not going to work. So that's a frustrating thing. Like, for me, you've got a chance there to evolve.
Do you think that this should be working now, I hope?
Go on.
Do you think, though, that Voltemada, he has amazing, we've seen it on the spot skills when he's in a tight situation, a bit like Lewis Hall's been doing on a regular basis now, getting away or getting the ball through a tight group of players who are all around him. Okay, so he's excellent at that. But is he the player that can actually take the ball forward through players and then find the final ball? I don't know that he is.
Well, I'll come to you in a second, Peter, but not in a St. Maximum way. But I think he's shown in Germany that he can dribble and he can hold off players. It's not going to be like Thierry Henry, but I think he can hold off players if he's deeper and with his movement and touch, go forward from that position. It's not going to be, like I say, silky skills all the time, but it's just about moving other players around and keeping the ball and allowing another striker to be in front of you.
I just think he doesn't win
But enough. I just don't understand why. Hold on, I just don't understand why we get fixated on this is what he needs to do, and he needs to score goals, man, and he needs to be fed the opportunities to score goals.
He was yesterday.
I don't know that those headers were those sitters. I don't know that I mean, Wissa had good opportunities as well. He didn't even, and so but he says Wissa is a proper center forward, and the other one isn't. But they're both not playing good. So therefore, really, that proper stuff is not really relevant. It's about what are they actually doing. Wissa sometimes doesn't even look like that first touch. And Guatemala had the same issue, by the way, yesterday. But I think Wissa more now the games that we've seen where that first touch, that first control is not good. And to me, control is everything when it comes to that. Let's go to super chats here for a second. Still Bad Dad says, Chris, the son looking after his father. Mic on. There you go. Let us know if the sound is good. More like a great grandfather, but needless to say, was I there with the super chat? Tell me that, I won't be home for tea. I'm fed up with war. Eddie, tell me that. Sasas, is that what it says? Sansa's father, what the heck, man? Read this crap, man. Sansa's father, I am new and I'm improved in darkness, I believe. Oh, he's going to the dark side, isn't he? Waza, War Waza has gone to the dark side.
Come on, son, you can't do that.
Win is losing members by the minute, man. Look, people are starting to get fed up. That's the problem, though.
Yeah,
people are starting to get fed up. And, yeah, go on, mate.
Totally. I think, again, though, like, I mean, just going back to Jeff Orr, like, honestly, like, trust us, although I do praise Eddie Howe from time to time, I'll always stick up for him. But yeah, I'm fed up as well with the tactics sometimes that we see. So I'm not going to say that he's the master tactician, he's the best tactician in the world, you know what I mean? So trust us, I'm not sitting here saying that neither. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to kind of look at both sides, but what do you say, Chris?
No, because
you
right here...
You dispute that?
No. Right here, Jordy Highwayman, because I asked if the sound is okay. He says, aye, Chris, except when we can still hear him. We need to knacker him again. No, but look, thinking about it, this whole situation, it's just... I don't know. I mean, look at the matches that we got, though. That's the problem. That's why I said you need to play... How could he have been really that bad if we played... Willock, Ramsey, Guatemala or Wissa, whichever. And, try to do rotate, because now you play the best players, and there is no chance whatsoever. If he plays Willock or Ramsey against PSV.
Main issue on Sunday for me, that he never went with both Guatemala and Wissa.
Yeah.
That to me is the main issue. Now, I understand why he's doing it, because at the minute... we haven't got the third striker option if anything happens to either one of them.
Yeah, but what kind of thinking? At some point, you
can't rely on then one striker. So, does that mean you've got to go and buy a striker?
Oh,
no.
I think they definitely need to.
And I think we should. Yeah. Exactly. So do I.
Aye.
The thing is, man...
But right now, we also know, because of the defensive crisis that we've had and the injuries we've had there, we need more. And again, all of the bedwetters point to the fact that it's because he's overplaying them, doesn't trust his squad, etc., which is why we're getting the injuries. I don't think it is why we're getting the injuries. The injuries haven't been caused by stress and tiredness and all the rest of it. They've been caused by tackles and twists and turns and trips.
Aye. And just on Wolves as well, Win, like, I understand there's some games where you're away from home and you want to be compact, and I would kind of let him off a bit when he doesn't play the two up front, because you play some decent teams and you don't want to just leave yourself too open. But Wolves game, for me, it's frustrating because they were bottom of the table, and that's where you say to yourself, we can let loose a bit more in this game. We can unleash the two up front. And okay, there's other games you might not want to do that, but I think that was kind of frustrating that we didn't do that against Wolves.
Jefferson says, bro, Eddie Howe is finished. It's finished out here, man. Time to go. And Waza there, also appreciate what Eddie's done with respect, Jeff. There you go.
Just very quickly as well, right? Just on tactics as well. You know, we're talking here about Eddie Howe being what kind of tactician he is. There's no guarantee that you get a new manager in, right, and they're going to play suddenly this completely different type of attacking football. Look at how many managers play this pendulum football. It's everywhere. It's absolutely saturated in football. Everyone does it.
Epidemic.
Totally, it is.
Well, but I mean, if it works for some teams, it is what it is. I mean,
No, it works for teams who've got massive squads. And
why? No. Actually, that doesn't make sense.
Who've got the money to go and buy the best players.
But it doesn't make sense because what's that got to do with possession ball? Having money or not having money? Matter of fact, having money to buy more players would only benefit a style of high intensity, high pressing, because if one gets knackered, then you go buy Marguehi, then you go buy Semenyo. If money helps then with that type of football, possession football, man, you just pass the ball, you try to, again.
Why has he bought Semenyo? Because he's one of the best low block attackers in the Prem.
He's one of the best wingers, man. He's one of the best
The
wingers.
thing is that like these types of teams, like Arsenal and Man City, their players, they play this possession football, but they also are well structured and they are like robots in how they play and how they press. So it's like they do get those types of players as well. It's all connected in that way, and I think it is really wearing football down in terms of the entertainment side of it as well. So I agree with that. You know, I think it is a problem in football, and I think I want a manager to step forward and
break the mold.
Yeah, break the mold and be the one to say, no, we're going to do it this way. And that's where Eddie Howe could do that, you know, with the two strikers. Just to go back to your point, Win, about the injuries, what I would throw at you is Asula. You know.
What's wrong with him?
Yeah, well, he got injured. He was carrying a knock, and he got injured, having come on with a knock, by all accounts. That got worse after he came on, and now he's out for like 3 months from that time.
And why was Asula playing?
Because Wissa was out.
Well, we didn't have Wissa at the time, but I'm talking about last season.
No, I'm on about this season.
First of all, where's Wissa? I mean, sorry, Osula. What's going on with him?
He came on against Fulham. Remember, he came on. He did really well. You know, did class. He helped with the goal. Bruno tap in with that shot.
Yeah.
But by all accounts, he was carrying a knock, an injury. And after that game, I'm sure that was the game, and he picked up a further knock after that. They said it's got worse, and now, because of that, he's out for whatever 3 months it's been. This is what I mean. Like, I think we'll put players on where they're carrying knocks.
Well, Bunce.
James Bunce. Yeah. Got to question what he's saying as well, you know, about that. But the fact is that has happened, and now we are down to two strikers again. Now that Wissa's back, you know, so one's back, but one's out in Asula. So I just think like Eddie Howe, Jacob Murphy's another one playing through injury. You know, he's admitted he does that. So I just think be ruthless and don't put them in the team unless they're 100% fit.
Well, again, I still don't know what happened to Osula because how bad is how many? He's been out for like what? 2 months, 3 months? What's going on with him?
Who what about now?
Osula. Damn near got tore his ligaments probably. We don't even know. So what's going on with him? No idea. What's up with the super chat? We need entertainment and depth. Bums on off seats. So the lads were talking about the atmosphere earlier on. To me, it's funny how everybody, all fans by the way, talk about the atmosphere when we lose or when things don't go well. But when we don't, nobody mentions it. As if really, with all due respect, if the players are not performing, it doesn't matter what the atmosphere is. Some people as well get carried away about the atmosphere now. Is where it should be up here because that's the standard. The standard that's been since the takeover. Because before that, I mean, you know, you guys were part of a big part, level 7. That was a long time ago, though. After that, the atmosphere has been dross at St. James's Park, man. People leaving, giving up their tickets. And, yeah, of course, we were losing most times than anything. But that had nothing to do with the fans giving up their tickets or giving up, you know, or not going or not singing or not chanting. It was about what was going on the pitch, the players that we had. So I feel like it's an easy cop out for the manager and players to say the atmosphere is draws. You know,
whoa! Who said? Which manager and players have said the atmosphere is draws?
No, I'm saying it's an easy cop out for fans to say.
For fans, I was going to say, not the manager. I've never ever heard.
Well, the manager's never going to say that.
Or any of the players call the atmosphere.
No, the manager. But I'm saying, but every time we lose or something doesn't go well, people want to talk about the atmosphere being an issue. And to be honest, I have no issue with the atmosphere. I mean, it goes on and off. And maybe fans are getting complacent.
Some games are better than others. But like it would appear, the team, the fans, the home fans raise their game. The away fans are always brilliant. The home fans raise their game against the bigger teams. There's this apathy kind of thing that they just expect to get results against the lesser teams, which is one of the reasons why I think we've struggled so much against them.
Before Tim goes, for example, I had one American lad when we were in Nashville watching the game asked me, "How long have you guys, got the ultras there?" Which they didn't know what their name was. War Flags, I said, yeah, that's called War Flags. The group, and they do all that stuff. How long has it been there? Because I know ultras, English War Flags just been there for 4 years. That's it. I mean, it's just not. Well, they came back. But I mean, but they were going. Exactly, but they were going for a long time. Matter of fact,
it was a protest.
That's all right. But at the end, but he wasn't there, right? It wasn't there.
No, because Ashley wouldn't back Rafa.
But I'm talking about before Rafa. Way before that.
Ashley wouldn't back him.
So War Flags came.
No, that's fine. That's fine with War Flags. Yeah, but 2016. What happened before that? Where was the atmosphere before that? Yeah, but you guys were where? Back in 05, 06. I mean,
04 to and then it moved to the corner, the Strawberry Corner from level 7. So it was from 04 in level 7, then about 2010, wasn't it? The Strawberry Corner. And the Strawberry Corner's been there since. And it bubbles away. Sometimes it's really good for games and that it spreads around the ground by all accounts. Sometimes it isn't. I mean, I just think as fans, look, I'm not sitting here, I don't want to criticise fans. And I think you pay your money and you do what you want sort of thing. But I think as a set of fans in the ground, you kind of want us to raise our game and not be complacent.
True.
And try and make it a cauldron as much as we can and be defiant, just like how we want the players to be defiant. That's not to say, obviously, you're not going to be frustrated in games, obviously. And there's going to be groans, and that's totally normal in certain games.
As many games as there is, though, it's kind of tough. As many games as there is,
totally.
The weather is unbelievable, and then you're watching something that's not really helping much. I mean,
two-way thing, yeah.
It's a two-way thing, of course. Let's go with some super chats before you go and win. Watcher says, Becca, I've loads of IKEA experience. If blah blah blah. I am sorry I couldn't make it to the Talk TV clan someday together. Sweats. Cheers, Watson. Thank you for the super chat, mate. Queen of Heart, nice. It's not an expectation to want better. Neither is it an expectation when a local derby should be something to win and we lose it. Says Queen of Heart. Thank you for the super chat. For the super chat there. Go and win. What do you want to say about the fans? Well, you're not going to leaving early and everything.
I'm not saying anything about the fans. What I'm saying is that a lot of fans right now expect, because of what we did, and what I would say is what we did in that, especially, we stayed up the first season, and you could argue that was helped largely because of what was spent in the January window. And I'm not going to argue with that, getting Trips and Byrne and Pope, Pope came in the summer, but Bruno.
Chris Wood.
For a start, that ended up the following season being the best defence in the league, which also helped us the way we were playing the pressing game. It worked immensely to our advantage. But at that time, we had a very, very small squad. And the squad players that we had at the time were way, way below the players that were bought, for example, in the January to replace those players so that we could avoid relegation. Now that meant that the load on all of those players in that second season was immense. And that then continued in the third season. We went into the third season, we had a Champions League qualifying squad. We bought Tonali and Barnes primarily to add to that squad. Well, without them both for the full season. So we ended up that January, that
What's
December,
that got to do with now, man?
having to play because it's just we've been playing catch up. People don't understand.
What's that got to do with this
season? We've been playing catch up this whole period of time.
I'm talking about this season. What's it got to do with this season?
And then what happens this season is we'll lose the jewel in the crown, if you like, the rat.
Yeah.
Who's responsible for like 70% of our goals last season, and we're replacing them with fourth and fifth choice players. That's what's happened this season. And despite that, we're still in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, we're still in the FA Cup, we're still looking favourites to get to the knockout stages of the Champions League, which we didn't have the second season.
I don't think fans are complaining about that, to be honest. There wouldn't be. I think fans are complaining.
Well, what are they complaining about? A few bad results.
No, it's not about even a bad result. It's that we look clueless on the pitch. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. We made Wolves look great. We made Luton look great.
We didn't make Wolves look great at all.
We made Burnley look great. You know what I mean?
We played Burnley off the park.
Thank you. Jefferson says, there are 0 excuses left for the coaches. Cheers for the super chat, mate. What do you think? You say we knackered Wolves?
No, I'm just saying, away to Burnley, we made that far harder than what it should have been.
And people, but you know what's crazy though? People get left with it. We beat them 3-1, and that sounds like, whoa, 3-1. You know what I mean? That last goal was the biggest joke ever. Yeah. Dubravka gave us that goal. You know what I mean? So, well, of course. But you know what I mean? But the whole game was harder than it should be. And you play against the proper team against Man City, where we all here said our problem is doing the must-win games, right? Beating Wolves. That's our problem. When the big teams, we turn up for them. You know, we can play them.
We're going to say that.
No, we're not. We also saw it already. We played Man City at home. Do you remember that? And we were absolutely knackered playing against Man City in the Carabao Cup. That's the only.
As opposed to 3 weeks later,
that's the only proper team that we played in a long time.
Since we played them 3 weeks earlier.
3 weeks early.
Yeah.
All right, we beat them 3 weeks earlier.
Yeah. But listen. There was a lot of games in between. There's a lot of games in between from that.
Because we're playing a lot of games.
The two greatest games we have all season is Man City and Everton, back to back.
In general, do tend to kind of turn up against these bigger teams. Now, for me, Man City, I'm going to sound like I'm bloody making excuses now, right? Because on that particular game, if you brought that game up, Man City were a lot better than I thought they would be. Because
a lot of people say they were rubbish this season.
I know. I thought they were going to be vulnerable, but I thought they were compact, and they were kind of harder to break down than I anticipated they would be. But just going back to the...
And who was the difference maker? Semenyo, who we've just signed for 60... Yeah. And by the way, who would have been 100 million if he didn't have the release contract.
Well, it's funny you say that, Semenyo, right? So, just on that, again, going back to the Wolves game, and games like that, when it is kind of, it's just stale. There's nothing there. It's boring. That's when you need the Mavericks, right? Now, Eddie Howe, for me, his best season was the fourth season. You know, when we got Champions League top 4, his first full season, right?
Well, first full season.
His first full season, yeah.
That's 22-23 was my favourite ever season.
Exactly, right. So, I reckon you look at that season. I tend to agree. I think we were just a force to be reckoned.
It was
right?
that's you've got it. We were a force to be reckoned with, and the reason we were because we were relentless, and we knew that the opposition could not keep it up for 90 minutes. We could.
I tell you what, though, you're right. But there was also one other component that we don't have now, right?
Who was it?
We had the ace in the pack, right? We had the joker card, didn't we?
Callum Wilson.
Who's the Maverick? Who was the Maverick?
What?
San Maximin. Yes.
No.
Now you don't see.
How many games did he play that season?
Well, he played enough to make a difference.
How many games did he play that
scored against
season?
City, didn't he? He scored against Man City. Now listen, seriously, right? You don't see that kind of player these days.
That was his last decent game for us, the Man City game.
Look, I just want to know one thing. They're talking about Isak.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Could we not have done with the Saint Maximin against Wolves? It was crying out for Maverick.
Well, he kept on scoring winners against Wolves, didn't he?
Aye, exactly.
Yeah, but as a Semenyo or a Doku, I mean, Semenyo, 10 times a better player, really. But who is out there? But the thing is, we're not into that. We're not into that.
Well, exactly.
Matter of fact, I know. I can't remember who told me. It's better that I don't remember. I think, but somebody told me that knew. This is the ITK part of it, but somebody told me that knew that situation that Eddie Howe didn't fancy him at all. Because, San Maximin, because he was attitude problem, showing up late a few times. He didn't like that. And, of course, he's entitled to not like him. So he sent them away for a cheap price, to be honest. So, which is crazy. I don't know why. But those type of players seem to have that some sort of attitude.
They're being phased out.
Yeah, they are. It's
a massive problem, I think. But games like the Wolves game typifies that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Everything I said, we're not into those players, and you agree with me. But everything leads to one person. Once you start talking about why don't we change the way we play? Why don't we put two center forwards? Why don't we bring another Saint Maximin? It all ties to the same numpty.
Eddie Howe.
No, it doesn't.
But who makes the decisions?
What it all ties down to.
Who makes the decisions not to sign a Saint Maximin?
The squad. That's what it ties down to.
What are you on about? Who
assembles that squad?
Yeah, who assembles it? Who puts the subs in? Who does it? Tim, you were seething when he wouldn't keep Voltemata and Wissa yesterday on the match. Who makes those decisions? I want to know. Who?
Eddie Howe makes those decisions, obviously.
So there you go then. That's the issue.
No.
And that's why I don't think he was a change.
But he's making them for a reason.
Nah, come on, man. No.
The thing is, because I'm not disagreeing that. I agree. I'm criticising Howe for that. But I guess I'm looking at the flip side. I guess what I'm saying on the wider point of things is every other manager is also phasing out players like San Maximin. It's a wider problem. So we can kind of bash Eddie Howe for it, and rightly so, because he is the one making those calls. And I disagree that with that kind of mentality that you don't need a Maverick anymore. Because I think you do. If you're going to break down the low block, and I think someone, like you said, needs to step forward in football in general and just say, you know what, football has gone stale, and this needs to change.
But the only thing is,
let me thank Jefferson for his super chat. Chris, can you go Stone Cold Steve Austin, please? I want to so bad, man, but I'm gonna get the elderly.
On who, Jeff? On who?
The elder.
This is 100% disabled veteran who cannot claim a flight of stairs.
Well, you were huffing and puffing too, by the way.
I was huffing and puffing. I'm 73, you know.
Go, man. Thank you. Cheers, mate. Cheers, Jefferson. But what were you saying? Sorry. He forgot about
break
it.
the mold. That's what.
Nobody break the mold.
Yeah. So we can criticise Eddie Howe for it, and like I say, rightly so. And I'll be the first one to say, Eddie, come on, we need that Maverick. But every other manager has that mentality where they don't want these Mavericks.
Somebody mentioned Bunce before. I wonder how much Bunce is to blame. How much say
he shouldn't
has Bunce got now on training schedules, fitness schedules?
He shouldn't.
All the rest of it.
He should not have anything to do with that. He should advise Eddie Howe.
Well, hang on.
No.
Because when he was put in place, everybody was saying what a fantastic job he's doing. Look at the injuries that we're not getting now.
He should advise Eddie Howe, just like any other coach there, like just like the goalkeeper coach says, I think Ramsdale is going to suit our style. They probably don't even say that, to be honest. But I think Ramsdale is going to suit our style because he plays with his feet better than Pope. Blah blah blah. He advises Eddie Howe, and he still puts Pope. And so he should advise Eddie Howe that we shouldn't play like this too much or too often because you're going to knacker the players. This guy is already tired. That guy is already knackered. He's on the verge of getting hurt. Blah blah blah. But Eddie Howe should be the one making the decision. If Buns is telling Eddie Howe who should play and how we should play, then that's not. What is this?
Eddie Howe wouldn't be here if Buns was overruling him as to who to play. I think we know that, don't we?
Yeah.
Eddie Howe wouldn't tolerate that.
Right. I kind of agree with that.
He sacked Ashworth and Mitchell. Remember that?
Except he didn't sack Ashworth. Ashworth decided he wanted to go to Man United.
Yeah, right, man. Yeah,
Dead
right.
simple.
Ashworth wanted Eddie Howe.
Dead simple. And then when he got there, Ashworth, he wanted Eddie Howe.
There
you go.
He didn't want his nephew
Let's
in
just
there.
put that to bed.
He didn't want.
He
his
wanted
nephew
rid
in
of Paul Mitchell, and so did I. So did everybody at the club. so did everybody at the club, by all accounts. Because he came in like a bull in a china shop, and he was an arsehole. That's his fault, nobody else's. End of story as far as that's concerned. However, what he did do, which everybody applauded him for, was brought in Steve Buns. And if you remember the two of them sitting laughing when we went down 1-0 at Crystal Palace, this will get shot of him, this will get shot of him.
Hey, this is a great comment here from Adrian Pickett about Buns, because you were talking about him maybe having an input. If we hire people to stop Eddie Howe doing what he wants, maybe we should get another manager.
Well,
that's one way of twisting it.
No. Well, as far as I'm concerned, he's having to go at the board there.
Why?
Don't bring in somebody to tell the manager what to do. Get another manager. Make your mind up.
No, but you don't want that. You want Eddie Howe.
Absolutely, I don't want that.
You want Eddie Howe to just run the club and do what he wants.
Yeah, I want him to tell Bunce to go and do one. If Bunce is telling him, as I suspect, that in order to keep injuries to a minimum, we can't do high-intensive training the way we used to. We can't have the players as fit. Because we've seen them now, recently, running out of steam in the last 20 minutes. We never, ever used to see that. We used to see the other teams running out of steam and us going and scoring goal after goal.
First of all, you only saw that when we had no Europe to play, only Premier League.
Yeah, one season.
You've never seen that again. So stop acting like that's the norm.
Oh, so hang on a minute.
Because the year we qualified for Champions League, everybody and their mama got hurt.
So what does qualifying for Champions League enable you to do? It enables you to strengthen the squad so that you've got bodies so that you can rotate.
Does he rotate well enough with those games?
Without dramatically lowering the standard and dropping points that way. We are in limbo right now. We're in that position where we can't buy the players that we want, and the players we've got are just not quite good enough. We are exactly where we are for that reason.
Yeah, but I'd still argue that Eddie Howe, I think, and again, like Peter says, look, I think Kev, like Peter said, talks a lot of sense, and I think Eddie Howe, on the face of it, deserves that loyalty and respect to see the season out and see where we are at the end of it. But I think it's a valid question to ask if Eddie Howe rotates the squad with these sets of games, like you say, the Champions League games, European games, and Cup games, well enough. I don't think he does. You look at Tino's appearances since he's came back from his injuries, and he's playing like every game, nigh on every game.
Right, okay, but whilst Tino's been injured, so has Trips and Kraft. There was no options.
So that's where you improvise.
And then Hall got injured.
Well, he's been playing.
So Tino had to go on the left.
Hey, by the way, hold on. First of all, we got a message here. Mike Miller, come on, Wayne. That pint isn't drinking itself, mate. There you go. So come on, man. What's going on?
I'm going to have a tab and get some beers in.
And give me a Guinness, mate. Give me a Guinness. They spend money for once because you've been knocking him all day, man. Okay, and this guy wants to go to the finest restaurants too. When they sell that balloon bread, they feed you this much, man. Come on, man. for 200 quid.
Tight as if fishes, and that's what I take.
Hey, you got your mic is on, by the way. Hold on. Hey, hold on. There's a button on.
What do you want, man?
He was about to take his mic to the bog.
Huh? What do you want? I want a job.
Right, I'll get you a drink, like. You fancy one?
Oh, what do you mean?
Hello? Huh?
I'm not drinking tonight, I'm
Half a
driving.
Guinness if you get it,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go through some chats right here. Thank you, McMahon, for the super chat. I didn't even know it was a super chat, actually. I was lucky to just put that one on. He's about to take his mic to the bog, by the way. Becca, take your mic off. We don't need to hear your tinkle. We should have let him do that. We should have let him do that. Fucking hell.
He'd be slagging you off.
Hey, man, listen. Win is the worst. Look, we got in a taxi yesterday. Boki, you be my witness, and the twins here. We got in a taxi yesterday. He was going off to the taxi driver, telling him, "It's your job, man. Get off. No, but because we didn't know how to get people in the back because we had a lot of people. We were gonna eat Chinese, great Chinese, good. Peter got good Chinese. He must be in Chinatown a lot with Win, because he good stuff. Shout out to what was her name? Amasia in the Toon, right in front of Bally's. Right behind, right around St. James Park, right in City Center. And we didn't know how to get to the back. And so we're, funning around trying to get to the back. And Win is like, you get off your ass and teach him how to, open the back or whatever. And the taxi driver, to be fair, he wasn't backing down. He was like, it's not my job. My job is to drive.
I couldn't hear what he was saying.
Yeah, he said, my job is not to drive. My job is to drive, not to get out the car or, help. He said, it's your fucking job, man. It's just, because Wayne has been a taxi driver. He says he's been a good one. We don't know. But he's been a taxi driver for a long time. He was going off at the taxi driver. Even in the taxi, man. He was going back and forth. It's your job. You should come out and help the people, blah, blah, blah. Wayne is used to the old school, they come out, open the door for you, they close it, they put the umbrella out if you need it, you know what I mean?
Get the carpet out.
Yeah, that's 2026, man. Nobody does that no more.
Yeah.
So
he was doing the right thing.
Oh, he was doing the right. It's your job. He was going off, man. And he tells every taxi driver where to go. Like, what are you doing, man? He tells, and we're gonna ask him like when he comes in, why does he have to tell a taxi driver where to go? They got GPS now, you got this, but he gets on like, why didn't you take the highway? Why didn't you take the motorway? Why didn't you just mind your business, man. Okay, now, but he's
old habits die hard.
He is the Gordon Ramsay of taxi drivers. Trust me, he bollocks all taxi drivers nonstop. So there you go. Let's go with some chats here that people having their say. Let's make sure we're lining up with all the super chats. Waza there says, Chris, you think balloon bread will ever take off? No, man, that thing, you're poking it. You guys like that?
What is that?
Yorkshire pudding. Yeah.
Oh, the lush?
Dude, it's fake, man.
You don't even like it?
It's this big, and you poke it and it just deflates like a balloon.
It's all good. It's nice and soft.
And you don't eat a haggis?
Never had haggis. No, you've had one.
Oh,
so
probably.
You're more Scottish
Haggis
than me,
is.
Chris.
I'm Scottish. I bought my kilt, my flute, whatever it's called. I'm Scottish now, mate. I am proper Scottish. So yeah, well,
you'll have to wear it.
That's for the after party. That's for the after party. That's for the after party. That's my flute. I bought my flute, man. Look at that. So my bagpipes, bagpipes. That's what it's called. Boki says, win and was are knackered. There you go. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it. Let's go with some chats here from the show right now. Don't forget to smash the like button. Help the channel grow. Help us out. Become a member if you can and help support the channel. Still by that, ask a question here. Do you think Ilanga upped this game yesterday? I saw something in him, a little hunger for once. He looked a lot better than he yesterday.
A little bit better. I'll give him that.
What you would expect.
Exactly. I mean, it couldn't get any worse from what he's been before that. I mean, we were saying after the Man City game, when he came on in that one, it was like, wow, we have a problem here, because he was so tentative. He was almost asking for permission to tackle, like, to the Man City player. Do you mind if I just step in and try and get the ball from you? Like, so yeah, it was a step up from that, because against Wolves he looked he looked more kind of at it, a bit more urgency, a bit more drive. So I want him to do well. Do you know what I mean? I want it to come good. It's been a disaster so far that there's no getting away from that. But there is time for him to turn it around. And I've said all along, actually, I've said you never know. It might get at the business end of the season when it gets to the nitty gritty. He might actually start. He might step up just when you need him to.
You know, when it's crazy though, Tim, that Ilanga, for example, plays so bad that he plays a decent game, and it feels like he improved. And then Tonali had been playing almost 8-ish, 9-ish every game, and certainly I believe our best player last season. I mean, you can put Isak there, but I think he was the most important player. And then he might play a 6 or 7, and people will lose their mind thinking he's knackered like Tim does. You know what I mean?
Well, I know Tonali's your man, isn't he? You know what I mean? Starstruck, you know? Starstruck. But that's the way it goes with top players, you know, when they fall below the standard, that's normal, where fans are like, you know, we know you can do better than that. Whereas Elanga, we're thinking, well, what have we got here? So we just want to see something from him. But I think I've said before, maybe Kudus. I mean, Kudus at Spurs hasn't been amazing, but he's playing in a team that's struggling. But I think he's really talented, and you know, in hindsight, he was more of a maverick that we could have done with, I think, as opposed to Elanga. And just on the wingers, by the way, there's been, I think Eddie Howe quoted as saying that there isn't the funds to strengthen the attack. What I'd say is, well, tap Gordon around and get some money for him, and use that money to get a striker and a winger potentially.
That ain't gonna happen, I'm telling you.
It won't. I know probably it won't. But if you want to be ruthless,
I
just think like, you know, while his value is decent enough, just tout him around, see what you can get.
Yeah, that's a good point. Gavin Fuller here says, let's just call it possession for the sake of it. But for the sake of it, because tic-tac needs to be played at pace, one touch if possible, with loads of off the ball movements. That's true as well, that tiki-taka type style. Travoy says, I've been banging on for 4 months or more. How needs to go. We have the chance to go to get the Zerbi, Alonso, Glasner, Xavi, Iriola, Fabregas, Simeone, Valverde, Inzaghi, Conte, Terzic, and Farioli. Then no Zidane there, but see that's the ingrates of football. Oh fucking hell! Oh my God! So never mind. Party's off now.
Do you want to? I thought you said you were driving.
No, that's him, man. He's not. Oh fuck!
Wins forgot Peter's drink.
What the hell is this, man?
Fuck you.
No, my God. Look at this. Oh, look at that, man. That dross right there. For a Geordie to drink this out of the River Tyne. Literally, you just put some carbonated water on it. And that's just criminal, man. Unbelievable. It can't get any cheaper than that. Becca says, I've been away all weekend. I forgot Chris had invaded the Toon. I'm so thick, I just realized Chris is sitting next to Win. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Cheers, Becca. Paulie Bass says, greetings from... Oh, that's Paul right there. Paul, he's I'll call him Underdog because he is going to be video editing for the channel as well, like taking clips and editing and stuff like that, and putting it out like bread, like hot bread. Paulie, Underdog, cheers, mate. All the way from Blythe. I got too many people from Blythe, man. What's going on with that? I think he's from Blythe. He's from the Boki land. Greetings from a rainy night in Dublin. Well, that's not you then. No, that's not you. That's for my bad. My bad. Too many Guinness. But anyways, cheers, Paul Bass. I don't know why I thought it was him. Oh, because the Paulie video editor. He's a fisherman. And I thought Bass. But yeah.
I was thinking like you had a lot of drink yesterday, Chris.
Yeah, no, I did. Tonight, you know? I was on the dog yesterday, man. I had a lot of those. Wonderful beer, man. I'm telling you. You guys don't drink brown ale, man.
It's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste.
It almost feels like Guinness. Caffeine at them, like coffee-ish.
It is nice. It is nice.
Oh, it's proper.
Guinness for me.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Guinness. You got that's mine, man.
Is it?
Come on,
that's
man.
mine now.
You can give it. Lee Maggs, Chris, have you been to Sunderland yet? No, I ain't got no desire to go there. I mean,
I will take it.
Somebody. What's to do with Sunderland? No.
We'll take you there and leave you there, Chris.
Leave you there. No, the American Macam. No. We certainly don't need that.
Some videos outside the stadium are like.
Oh boy! Hey, listen, I heard that they decorated like Newcastle, like all NUFC. So
the glass centre.
Gamer says Gosford is a nice, friendly place. Yeah, that's right. We tune in for the Gosford Empire here in Gosford. Good stuff, man. Good hospitality. Shout out to Tommy and the lads. Good stuff. Eddie, I think as well. His name. Good stuff. I think I will be a member of the Gosford Empire. You just gotta pay a small fee, but I don't benefit from it. But at least I can say I'm a member of a club. You know what I mean? That means a lot. That means a lot.
Wink, nudge, nudge.
That's right. David Beach, we are shite. No other way to say it. When you remember that? Hey, fucking hell. People can hear you, man. People can hear everything you're doing right now. Give me that, man. Give me that. Just sit down, man. You're knackered. Oh, fucking hell. Hey, let us know if you are blasting everybody's ear right now, man. Fuck. Dude.
I'm just saying when we're going to take Chris to Sunderland. He wants to go to Sunderland. Check out the town. Are you going to take him? Are you going to take him, man?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Put him on a train and leave him there.
That's what I said. We've all got the same idea, Chris.
There you go. Oh, shit. Sorry about that. Okay. We're back.
Hallelujah.
And Win is back after 20 tabs in a row. There you go. We are shite, says David Beach, by the way, letting you know that. No other way to say it. Niall Powell, chased a player for 2 years, not a first choice. I didn't want Elanga at all. Well, I didn't want him either. Well, actually, I did want him.
Here's the thing, right?
I did want him.
He didn't want Elanga. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. So, fair enough. You didn't want Elanga. We went after him as a last resort when we couldn't get Gay. The summer before. This was when we had no money at all. We could buy one player, and it became apparent we weren't going to get Gay for the money we had available, 50 million, 55 million, whatever it was. So we earmarked Elanga. We then watched him last season. Are you telling me Elanga last season was not a better prospect than the kid he replaced, who was Miggy Almiron? Anybody who's telling me after watching Elanga perform last season that he wasn't an upgrade on Miggy,
but that's the
talking
problem.
Rubbish.
The problem with your statement is that you put it in a place where it shouldn't even. Miggy was gone long before. Like you know what I mean? It's not a replacement for Miggy. We needed. With Miggy on the team, we were talking about we need a right wing and a proper one because Miggy's not good enough, Murphy's not good enough. We need a right wing. The right wing conversation has been relentless for Newcastle. That's 3 or 4 years.
And then during that time,
I just answer your point, right? Because I was the same. I was like, Elanga, you know what? I wouldn't mind him, but that's as a fan, right?
Yeah.
They, as the club and scouts, they should do the research and try and find out what is the player's mentality. Can the player? I think Kev alluded to this as well. Can the player handle the shirt? Because one thing playing for Forest, with respect, at their grounds, and another thing playing at St James's Park. So it's not just the ability, football-wise, on a technical level. We need to identify players who can wear that shirt. And Elanga seemingly, to me, it screams out there. A lot of it is in his head. He's never going to be Messi, obviously, but he could offer something if his head was in the right space, and I think it's too much for him as it stands. And we as a club, like I said, should do our homework better in that way.
and I thought it was very telling what Eddie Howe said in his presser on Friday when he said, right now we are trying to make Elanga, I can't remember the exact words, feel safe. Words to that effect. Because he knows he's under pressure, which is just piling even more on. And you know, it cries out to me, if you remember, first game of the season, first couple of minutes, he's through one-on-one with a Villa goalie. If he scores that goal, I'm just thinking, how different would his season have been? And it cries out to me, going back 20 years previous, with John Dahl Thomason here. John Dahl Thomason threw one goal in the first few minutes against, I think it was Sheffield Wednesday, wasn't it? Yeah. And he missed.
Passed it to the keeper.
He passed it to the keeper, exactly. And he never kicked the ball for us. He was total garbage, left us, played on the continent, and became a superstar. Won the European Cup, the lot.
Right now, what's that got to do with right now? Any language?
Because it's all about confidence, man. Confidence is so important.
Yeah, it's on the floor for him, Alanga. And
So,
don't get us wrong, I feel for him.
So
you know,
what's
you
the
can say it.
what do you do for confidence and play him? And if you, what's been happening when you've been Eddie Howe's been playing him. Now he hasn't for the last month and a half.
Hang on, he has played him.
Yeah, last month and a half he hasn't because he probably realized, look, if I keep playing him, I'm knackered.
I mean,
So-
it's up to the manager.
And I think that's a fair comment as well, by the way.
You know what I mean?
I think you've got to time it. It's about timing, isn't it? It's up to the manager to judge.
He
How do I
played him
time
long.
this? And also, it's up to the gaffer to motivate that player and have that balance between, like you say, making them feel kind of loved and kind of safe, but also, if you can, kind of fire a rocket up his arse at the same time. You know, to say, look, mate, we need you to go out there and be a nuisance. Because and we know you can be, so go and do it.
Let me take a super chat.
It was painful to watch him the other day.
Let me take a super chat. Waza says Betsy, 1989 at the Gauzy Empire. Tozzy, Adam, and Ents. I don't know what that means. What was part of this club? Nietzsche.
I don't know.
Well, you know, you just joined, by the way. All the proper people are on the wall right there. You don't see Mighty Win at all here. Because
Betsy, 1989, the Gauzy Empire. To see Adam and the Ants? No, you didn't.
Nah,
I tell you where you did go to. You went to the Royalty Cinema, because I saw them there and all.
there you go.
Oh,
There you go.
Chris, you'll be a fan of that. Royalty, the Royals.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
Right
that's
there.
a-
Wall Queen, right there on the wall, because this is the Godfrey Empire, baby.
This
What are
is
we all
the
about?
The King's on the wall. Well, the
The
Queen's
king-
on the wall
the
here.
king- the
but
king is down there
This
now,
is
the
the
pro-
committee room. We've got the Queen on the wall.
Yeah, we got the committee
In the
room.
bar, big portrait of the King.
Oh, War King, War man, War. Say it. War King.
The King.
War King is our
Well,
king.
it's War King, aye, but he
Yeah.
is the King. He's the only king that counts, man.
Well, there's other kings around.
Yeah, but there's not
Well,
one.
but
There's
there's a
no.
king.
There's
There's
no.
a king.
We're
There's a king.
we're getting away from football.
No,
but
but there's a king of the
there's-
Netherlands, for example.
There's not another king. There isn't. There's a queen of the Netherlands. But there's no king in the world that compares with the British.
Yeah,
king.
but
But
right here, the prime minister does whatever he wants.
Get back to your colony, son. Get
Yeah.
back to your colony.
He ain't my king.
Oh,
Well, that's fine.
Hey, get Ghana, get Ghana.
I must admit, I've gone
No.
with the death of Queen Elizabeth.
No, man, that's War King, man. You don't
kinda-
lose support. War King. Hey, if not, Peter, you and the rest, you go to the Republic of Ireland.
The Sackers.
Go in the Republic of Ireland. By the way,
the Scots don't want them.
No, the proper ones, though, the Celtic fans, they do.
Who?
I think Celtic or the Ranger fans. Which one won?
Celtic definitely don't want him.
Rangers.
Oh no, the Rangers won. The Rangers won. So that's why I'm a Ranger. That's why I'm a Ranger, man. I'm a Ranger.
Don't say that. Ian Fleming will have your head.
No, I'm a proper Ranger fan. But I'm I was raised Catholic, so I should be leaning towards the Celtic side. So I'm a bit in between.
Yeah.
You're right. Wore knacker flaps. Well done. No wall says I was. Cheers for the super chat, man.
But was I right about the royalty? Was I?
Yeah.
Where you saw Adam and the Ants.
There you go.
But you certainly didn't see him at the Empire. We've got a lovely concert room here, which is where we were in on
match day. On match
Sunday
day.
for the match.
Listen, we about Shamrock telling me, Chris, you're Catholic, you should be a Celt. But listen, we gotta back the king though, man. We gotta back the king. Come on. But
Exactly.
He's a young man. He loves all the tourist nonsense. Yeah, oh God, you talk about going to Edinburgh to see the sights and see history and all that.
Oh, unbelievable stuff.
You have got no idea how long these two can spend in souvenir shops. And by the way, shops of any description. I was stood outside the Taunton Museum in the Castle Esplanade, and they were in there, I swear to God, for at least 45 minutes, probably going on an hour. I think I had about 10 times where they were in there.
Yeah, no, but we gotta bring gifts for the family, man. You know what I mean?
See the gear they brought back, man, ridiculous.
Which I was gonna ask.
Which including this
Oh no, don't you can't touch. That's disrespect, man. Don't ever touch my hat, man. Okay, hell, man. By the way, I'm Scottish, but I'm drinking the Irish beer. That's not. So what's the proper Scottish beer? Like
Tennent's.
No, I'm talking about proper like
Tennent's lager.
Guinness and
Belhaven.
Yeah. What about Scotch liquor? Is that Scottish?
Scotch whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is. Huh?
Okay.
It's the only. That's because that's called. There's only whiskey which is called Scotch.
Well, but proper whiskey is from Tennessee.
And McEwan's beer.
Yeah.
Which was a Scottish brewer originally, is called Scotch. Yeah. But anything else is
And by the way,
Scottish.
Harvey Barnes, forget them ingrates, man. Come to where you need to be, where you're going to be venerated as a proper footballer. Scotland, baby. We need you in the World Cup.
He's better than that.
Well, listen.
He's better than that, Chris.
But you guys don't appreciate him. That's it. You want Gordon, and you're going to be knackered with Gordon in the World Cup. So
let's see who does the best.
You really that's what I'm saying. Like let's have that conversation about Gordon in Barnes. You really believe Gordon is better than Barnes?
Yeah.
And what proof do you have
What
of
does
that?
the stats say about that?
Yeah.
The stats right at the minute.
So wait, you're on about whatever. You know, you're not talking about facts, man.
I argue about benefit to the team and what he does and when he adds, which he did, albeit it's he's had a bad season. Again, this is the whole point. You see, there's reasons for this. Anthony Gordon didn't have a single week's rest.
So rest him
for nearly for nearly 2 years.
Knackered. He just knackered you before you even finished
for nearly 2 years.
Listen, he just told you what the solution.
And the reason you couldn't rest him was because when you put Barnes in, who was bought as his replacement, when he eventually was fit enough to play, which was almost a year after we signed him, same as Toon Army, when you eventually put him in, are you telling me Harvey Barnes was good when he first came on for Newcastle?
He's always been good.
Yes.
He's always been good. Yeah, why? Exactly.
He's
always been good, man. He's always been good.
Yeah, he was. Against Spurs, he came in against Spurs last season, one of his first starts.
That wasn't last season.
It was.
No,
scored a great goal, and then he was dropped the next game with Wolves, I think.
Yep. He did great against Aston Villa, the first game with Toon Army.
Sorry, win, but
you're naked. And even this season in the Premier League.
Well, I'm saying when he came back from injury, he was rubbish. He
came off for West Ham against West Ham and saved us.
Well, he said Aston Villa because that was Toon Army started a course against Aston Villa, and he had a great game and all.
He did.
And by the way, the next 5 games he had before his ban, he was pretty poor, to tell you the truth.
No, I get it. Like with Gordon, I get there's reasons and stuff, and I'm not saying he's an absolutely terrible player, but I think that he can do the press. That's what it gives you, the press from the front, isn't it?
Yeah, but
and there's no reason why he can't do that from the right. And,
true,
I'm sorry,
actually.
but Barnes, I know he's not the best player ever, and yes, he did blow hot and cold at times in his first year or so, but he can blow cold in a game and still come up with the goods in a moment of magic.
And he can blow cold in a game.
No.
In a game and not come up with the goods.
Pot Mags.
So can Gordon. Agree.
So again, you're arguing with yourself. Pot Mag says Gordon has had one decent season his entire career, and that is a fact. That is a fact. He had one great season, right on time, by the way, so he can get a great contract. Second highest paid player of Newcastle. Do you think Gordon is playing accordingly to his salary?
Hang on, just by the by, Gordon
deflection
had that one great season playing with a centre forward who we knew was going to play, etc., 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 etc. Elanga had a great season playing with a centre forward that he knew, Chris Woods, that he knew what was going to do, and they had that. Football has always been about various partnerships all over the pitch. Gordon had that with Isaac, that magic season. Elanga had it with Woods, the magic season. Now, was it just a prolonged purple patch? A la Willock, a la Miggy? Or what I tend to think, having, again, watched him in England under 21s and then going through he was man of the match, for God's sake, for England.
But on the question of partnerships, who does Lewis Hall play really well with? Harvey Barnes.
They overlap, baby.
It's better with Harvey Barnes because they link up better down the left.
And Waltemada. Who plays better with Waltemada?
But look at the goal against Bournemouth.
Think, just, back heel passes. Boom, 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 boom.
Waltemada is a totally different kettle of fish.
No. Who plays? Exactly. It's a team. How do we play better on the left side?
Right. Where do you want to be? Who do you want to compare?
I'm not comparing. That's the point.
No. Yeah. Hey, listen. This conversation started.
Don't touch me too hard, man, because you're gonna get you gonna listen. You're poking the bear now.
This conversation, the fucking bear, Paddington Bear. This conversation started comparing Barnes and Gordon.
No, that's fine.
And you're saying, and you're absolutely entitled to your opinion. You prefer Barnes to Gordon.
Gordon would be good.
No, but you said that Gordon is better for the team. So we're saying also why we think Barnes is better for the team.
But I also think Gordon is kind of, if you like, only better for the team when we're playing high press football, which we're not doing at the minute.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but
well, play him on the right though. Like I say, you can do the high press.
The pressing doesn't change. You can be on the right and play in high press. So what's the problem?
Well, again, let's go back to what Eddie said himself in his presser.
We went back at the Chinese restaurant yesterday, and you were knackered. You had to leave and smoke a cigarette. You had to go to Bali's, walk across the street for a second to calm down.
Eh?
Yeah, yesterday. You too drunk. You too knackered to remember.
You went somewhere.
Somewhere. Listen, man. I'm just saying. People want you to drink that piss water.
We are talking here about Gordon and Barnes, left wing, right wing.
Who's better for the team? That's the problem.
Well, what I'm telling you is what Eddie said and what Eddie reckons.
Well, the one doesn't want to play there, so he just doesn't want.
It's better. No. He said Gordon doesn't enjoy playing on the right.
Okay, so that's the.
So
what about Barnes not enjoying playing on the right?
I think it's better for the team to have Gordon playing where he prefers to play and Barnes playing maybe where he doesn't prefer to play. And that is Eddie's decision, and he will stand or fall by those decisions and the results that they bring.
Honestly, I love Eddie, I love him, but on this particular point, I'll never kind of agree with the way it's gone so far in terms of in a sense pandering to Gordon.
It's favoritism.
I'll never.
By the way, also I think largely because the reason that he wants Gordon, the reason Gordon prefers to play on the left. Because he's international.
Because he wants to go to the West.
That's
that right there. Oh, you're knackered yourself.
No, I haven't knackered myself anywhere.
Listen. You cannot.
So
what's more important for Newcastle, for Eddie Howe? What's more important? What's more important for Eddie Howe?
What's more important for Eddie Howe?
What happens in England or what happens for Newcastle United?
what happens for Newcastle United.
So why you on
Obviously.
about Gordon wanting to play there because he wants to be in England?
Do you know what?
Because Eddie probably thinks he'll get nothing out of Gordon.
But that is
if he tries to play him on the right.
What kind of attitude
this is where I
Peter?
would want Eddie Howe to kind of put his foot down and say, do you know what? I'm the gaffer, and I think you can do a good job on the right, and not just a job. You can be brilliant on the right, and do you know what? You're going to do it, and don't care about what Tuchel wants to do.
And by the way, Gordon has never said he wouldn't do it. He's never refused to.
Yeah, but you've seen attitude.
It's not a Kieran Dyer situation. I
No,
grant you that.
no.
It's not that level. But Eddie Howe did say in the press conference, he said something. He said something along the lines.
It's on him if it goes wrong. It's on him.
No, exactly. But it's just a shame. And I just would have loved it if you'd said to Gordon, like, sorry mate, but I think you can do a job on the right. And for me, Harvey Barnes.
And that's where you're going to play.
Yeah, and Harvey Barnes is more effective on the left than
Would
Gordon.
Would I have any problem doing that? No, I wouldn't.
He's a team player.
Barnes is more of a team player than
He
Gordon,
cares about the
in
team.
my
He cares
opinion.
about Newcastle United and the fans and everything else. You know, Gordon just by himself making it to the World Cup. That's his guy. But the problem with your statement is that you say Eddie probably doesn't think he will get anything out of Gordon on the right. That is holding the club by for ransom.
Eddie Howe does not think he will get as much between the two of them for the team playing Gordon on the right and Barnes on the left. Away, man. I say, if he did think that, why the hell hasn't he done it?
Because he thinks Gordon is going to throw his toys out the pram.
Yeah, right. So if he thinks that,
Yeah, but when do you
Is
see
it
a
too
problem
close?
with
Is
that?
it too close to players in that way? To
Well,
Anthony Gordon,
with certain
where
players, maybe.
he doesn't want to hurt Anthony Gordon's dream
players.
of the World Cup.
and here again,
Oh, man.
no, it's a valid
No,
point,
man. No, because if you do that with him, you have to do it with everybody else. Because it's not good. You're going to lose the locker room. Unless you're Maradona.
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
No, I am, but you're not listening to yourself.
Because I'm saying maybe he should do it, and then which brought us onto the loyalty thing. But is that the reason that Eddie has overperformed so much?
What?
Because he has that, he gets that out of his players.
First of all,
I understand that.
I heard that kind of topic, I believe, I don't want to put words in their mouth, from the early night show. They were discussing something about maybe we think the players are not as good as we thought they were. And I think that's absolutely wrong. I think we have quality players. Everybody acknowledges that we have quality players. I think Tonali is quality. I think Voltemara is quality. Too many people are not going to be wrong. For why do we want to look? Voltemara is the starting center forward for Germany. And that is not Paraguay playing in the World Cup. You know what I mean? It's Germany
or US.
Hey, we got Landon Donovan, man, back in the day. He played for Bayern Munich. But anyway, I will let that slide.
After Fulham.
I will let that slide. But you're not going to be with that one. You're not going to be with that one. So tonight playing for Italy, very important. You know what I mean? So all these players, they're not rubbish. They're not. Bruno, is kind of the opposite. And he gets called up for Brazil all the time, but he gets slated by Brazilians all the time as well. And you know what I mean? Joe Linton, that's one player that we've been discussing. He never gets called up for the international. He's probably not going to go to a World Cup. So, that's one player. But we got good quality players. We got good quality. Lewis Hall is going to be going for England. Livermento, if he didn't get hurt, he would be going to England.
Well, incidentally, you talk about Lewis Hall, and we're talking about
Botman.
We're talking about how we beat Man City in the league and got beat the other night. One of the reasons we got beat the other night, and I make no apology for saying it, is that the referee gave Lewis Hall no protection whatsoever. He was hacked and hacked and hacked after he got clearer and doing what he's been doing so brilliant.
My point was we got quality players. We don't have rubbish players that have one lucky season, or Eddie Howe suddenly made them stars, and now you know, they're not that no more. I think we got really good players. Even Botman, who doesn't make it to the Netherlands. First of all, he was hurt, but also he's competing with Van Dijk, and we got the other guy there. So that is a bit difficult. Anyways, yeah, we gotta call it. So you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we got good quality players, and
Chris,
I think that we're gonna be.
I'll just say before we go, like yesterday, I seen Borky for the first time. Seen Queenie for the second time. She was over last year, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Who else was there? Jamie. Seen Jamie as well. And Michael. And somebody else, I think, was there. I'm trying to think.
Michael, Jamie.
Jamie, mate. I'm trying to go around the table.
Yeah.
Jamie, mate.
Bulky.
You too, me, Bulky.
Oh, the Umbrance slash Susie.
Oh, Susie,
yeah.
Susie and Betsy, of course.
So yeah, it was great. Absolutely class to see. It was great to see Borky in for the first time there, meeting properly in that, and just a class time. With
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. We got to call it off because they're kicking us out.
Just called time because it's 11 o'clock.
Shout out to the Gospel Empire here in Gosford.
And so Tommy the steward and Eddie the secretary for making us so welcome.
Thank you very much to all the super chats that goes a long way. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. It's been we kind of, you know, we had a lot of comments to go through, but you know, we'll try to do a better job next time to get those. So appreciate all the super chats, everybody that became members. Please do that if you can. Help support the channel. We'll be back live tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow, Tuesday night, here as well. So join us, and yeah, we'll be back at it, and we'll be enjoying, you know, things to do in the Toon. Let us know if you're in the group forum what to do, what to eat. Because I want some proper fish and chips, man. I need to go back to the Granger Market for fish and chips because they were the best ever. But anyways, he'll finish that piss water. He went for a piss and came back with that. So
work that one out.
There you go. Anyways, folks,
it's exactly the same as what's in there, but we ain't got no MBA glasses.
Thank you very much. Wind's been shouting, so they're kicking us out. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. Have a good one. Away the lads. Lasses and
Away the lads.
See you later.